Read in the group.
Yeah, I'll do that now.
Can you hear me now, ma'am?
Sir, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Perfect. Sir, good morning.
Morning, ma'am. Morning, all.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
Morning, sir. Morning.
Morning, sir.
Morning, all. Hi, all.
Morning, sir.
We start,
Welcome, sir. Welcome you for this session. We have our first year MBA students. We are in our bridge course orientation program, Udbhavah Setuh. I'm so happy to invite you as a guest today. Before we are getting into the session, I'd like to call upon Ms. Varsha to introduce the guest to the audience. Varsha?
Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning to one and all present here. I'm extremely honored and I feel privileged to have given the opportunity to welcome our guest, Mr. Jagdish, Project SME, Shell India Markets Private Limited. He is handling finance-related IT implementation projects, subject matter expert of shipping finance, sound knowledge to drive project and implementation with 12 years of experience in finance, pursued MBA in finance. He started career with event management and switched into corporate life with HCL, HP, Flextronics, and landed at Shell. He joined as financial analyst and currently aspiring to be a manager after moving 3 levels of the ladder over the period of 7.5 years. Welcome, sir. Sir, it's over to you. Jagdish, sir.
Sorry, I was speaking on mute. Thank you so much, Varsha, for that introduction. Thank you. So I'm honored to be here, and it's good to see. I mean, like, I think I would be having some interaction with the students, so I wanted this to be an interactive session, first of all. And maybe I would like to share my screen.
Sir, we will make you as a co-host now so that you can do that.
Okay.
Manikandan? Students, please join along with your admission numbers. Who's Navu here? Please mention your name as well as your admission number.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thanks for confirming. Okay, so let me just give you just a quick introduction about me. I'm just as explained. I'm a financial analyst with Shell India Markets Private Limited, and I'm a part of like a trading settlements. So we call it, we label it. So it's actually like there is Shell is basically an being an oil major or energy company in the new modern world of due to this. Climate changes and all, it has evolved to an energy company. So Shell initially it started with like crude oil business of crude oil. It explorates and then refines them, and then it sells the products to the customers. Now it has become a oil major, and it's like a 100-year-old company, more than 100 years. So even in India, if we could trace out the history of Shell, it is like it's there from since 1917. During the Eastern India British company's rule, it came into India and it starts its surveillance in India. And being in one of the oil major in the world, it's like one of the top 5 companies in the world. So to just name like Chevron, Norway US-based company, and Shell is like a Netherlands-based company, and we have Total Energies and British Petroleum. We name it as like BP. So these are the major competitors for Shell. So all these oil majors are now like getting into the next mode of the resources, mineral resources, or the natural resources. So initially it started with crude oil. Then they started exploring the crude oil from land or even from seas. Now they have moved into natural gases, and again from natural gas we have further moved into the power trading. So for example, we generate power through wind energy, solar. So most of these uh, the vehicles which are now we see it's like evolving into an electric cars. So now these energy companies started generating power using the other natural resources, by the means of natural ways, and they supply those the power requirements to the world through their productions. So I'm part of this trading settlements. So as part of the trading settlements, we take care of freight trading. So it's not only vessels. I mean, not only oil is traded. So for example, oil trade is how you trade in the market. So basically, stock exchange trade. So same way, the oil is traded for a future period as well. So for example, the traders of Shell will anticipate the requirements for next year, and also they will anticipate the price for the next year of a crude oil per barrel, and they will play around with those prices. So for example, a trader can anticipate like I will have some 1,000 barrels of crude oil. I will provide a buyer. So I mean, I means I'm saying the perspective of a trader. Okay. So the trader will anticipate that I will provide you, I mean, a buyer at the rate of $62 per barrel. And he doesn't, I mean, like come at that rate or calculate that rate easily. Rather, there is a big team of people who's like, for example, people like who have completed their MBAs or at IFMR or like certain market research institutions. And also, there are like people who have joined Shell as an analyst, and over the period of growth, they have moved into this market risk teams. So these people will do a risk analysis of the values and the proposition of that rate, and they will provide this, an advice to the traders. Okay, so basis that the trader will make a trade, and they will play around in the market with the volume of crude oil with which they process, as well as at the price which they play around in the market. Okay, so what we do is like we take care of the post deal settlement. So for example, there is a deal happened, and people the transaction between movement between the buyer and trader, the oils have already moved out, and we, as a part of finance trading settlements team, we take care of recovering that money on time, also paying all the costs necessarily which supposed to be paid for those complete deal life of the deal. Okay, so in such way, I'm after spending 7.5 years of time in this trading settlements, I've now been an expert in this accounts payables and receivables, also with the financial reporting of trading settlements. And also I'm skilled in this shipping finance because I majorly take care of all the vessel management. For example, any crude oil has to be shipped or moved between international borders only through ship. So in such situation, we handle around 220 vessels. So vessel is like a ship. So 220 crude oil tankers or a product tanker. Product means the diesels, fuel oils, which in like the engine oils which we use. So any byproducts of crude, we take care. And that for that vessel movements, we closely manage like 220 vessels, and we take care of those finance for those vessels. Okay. So on my topic, so which I wanted to give you guys is like about the project valuations and profit and loss analysis. So basically, every organization aims to maximize their profit with a minimum cost, and also they evaluate the performance of those projects as well. So from this session, okay, so before I start, I just want to quote Dr. Abdul Kalam's words, which is like, thinking is the capital, enterprise is the way, and hard work is the solution. So not only after completing, even from now, if we don't think about our, I mean, if we don't have a thought process and also the medium to achieve our goals, and without hard work, we can't achieve anything. So with this quote, I start with my session. Okay, so what could you expect from this session out of me? So your takeaway would be an overview of what is project management and what are the phases of a project management, what is an agile methodology, and how is the project valuation is done, and for example of a business canvas model, and what is the life cycle of crude, and what's the role of finance in life cycle of crude. So this is the takeaway you could expect from me. So starting with project management. So before I move on, shall I ask, like, is there people with engineering background that jumped into MBA, and also people with finance background, BCom or BBA, then they have jumped into, so that, like, I will phrase it in such a way.
Both engineering and arts background, sir.
Both. Okay, fine. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me start with this. What is a project management? So basically, project is like, it can be any task which is not your usual course of business. For example, in my settlements background, so we are not going to do any normal, for example, in a day-to-day business, I'm going to do 100 payments or bulk payments. That's not a project, rather something which is a ongoing manner or a big change in the process, which will be like, which has to go through a systemized way to achieve, evaluate, and sustain. So in such situation, a project management might be brought into place. Okay, so that will be considered as a project. For example, a new business is coming in. So in Shell itself, so as I was saying, initially we had only crude oil or this freight trading business. So after, like past 5 years, we have been having so much of new business entries. So new market entries, which is like an energy business, a power trading business. So those entities when come in, when we start managing them, before those flow into our business model, there will be a project team which will be set up. So here we'll have to check what is our goal. That's the initial stage. So the goal is like, which is set by the management, and that goal is bringing in of a new market and handling of those settlements or the finance model of it. So for any project, it will start with a goal. So the goal, for example, let's assume that I'm going to start my MBA career. So I'm going to get into an professional degree. So that would be my goal. So what is the first step? That's the initiation stage. And next is like planning. So for a project management is like, initiation means designing what is the problem statement and making up a business case, basically. So business case will be like, it will be a one pager where you will create, write upon what is your goal, and what is the benefits out of it, and how is your plan to achieve it. Or like, initially you will give, these are my goals. So I wanted to bring in a system model, or I wanted to bring in a new business model into the team. So what are all my requirements? So how should I do it? Should I need the support of the IT to bring in my system infrastructure? Or like, should I need resources to do it? People resources, human resources to handle it? How much of human resource would be involved? So all these will be put on a page. So that's like a plan on a page. And that is the initiation, and then planning. Then comes your priorities. What should come first? So should I require IT infrastructure first, or should I require a cost budgeting first, or should I require a human resource first? So what is that required at initial stage? So that is the priorities step of a project management. Next is like assigning a task. So for example, I have brought in IT people. So I will assign, so create this system model into the IT infrastructure and create a data storage for it. So what all steps you need to do? So you're planning out those steps in the task and assigning to the people to whom it should be. So for example, for a human resource, I have brought in a human resource. So what I will do, I will start training them. So that training part is the knowledge transfer is the task provided to a human resource. And what is the I mean, like for the business, there will be multiple levels of finance, not only see, finance is not just one part. I mean, it will be many different departments of finance itself. So for example, we call it as like finance and business. So there will be a department, for example, in trading itself, there will be a finance and business, and also technical accounting team, then the reporting and analysis team, and the controls team, compliance team. So everyone will form part of a project, and they will design how the business model should be, and basis that design, they will allocate tasks to each and every people. Okay, and then they will create a control out of it. So for example, I'm going to make a payment. So for making a payment, what all checks will I have to do? I can't just like that go and make a $100 million payment or $1 million payment also to a any counterparty. So for example, I will have to verify whether I have received the uh, goods and services from them, only upon which I can pay. But still, for confirmation of it, I need someone to authorize from that local location. I mean, like for example, if I have crude oil in Singapore and I want my colleague in Singapore to confirm me that the crude oil of certain barrel of volume has been received with a certain quality of it. So with all necessary criteria, if it has been received, only then there will be a checklist which I need to perform. I mean, like a settlements analyst or any finance person will have to perform and then make a payment. That's like a control you have. And next is execution. So it's just like on the project model, you perform all the tasks and get it a final business model. So for example, on the same new business model entry example, if I could quote, see, initially there is a IT platform which is created, then the knowledge transfer has been done, then you have all the budgeting, all these evaluations being done, then controls are put in place. So upon which they will execute that into an business live model. So for example, all these until monitor and control, it will be a prior, it's like a non-production. So that will not be put into production. It will be in a testing mode. And once it is completed and they have a foolproof system, then that will be put into an execution. It will be, it will go live. That's how we call it. So it will go live, and then the final stage is like completion. Completion is just like it doesn't go just like after we go live, it's just completed. It's not the way. Rather, they will evaluate whether we have given a foolproof product. Does it have any leaks anywhere? So should we arrest those, and how should we tackle whether is a foolproof product is working as we expected? Only then there will be even after execution, there will be a certain period called hypercare. So for at least for like 10-15 days, or even it could even extend to 6 months. So until that hypercare period, they will try to figure out if there are any leaks, any missouts in their project, and try to fix those issues and get it sorted, and they will evaluate the sustainability of it. So how long will it sustain? Will this is this like a foolproof? And if it is that going to help us a long term, or how much benefit we could arrive out of it? All we get. So moving upon the topic, so it's like explaining the same in the phases of the project. So this is how a project phase will go. Basically, it will start with conception and initiation. The same. I mean, like as I explained, the conception and initiation is like they prepare the goals out of it, prepare a business case model, and I mean, like we call it as an A3, where you will put a problem to it. You will get into a brainstorming with your team or any stakeholders, any part of the organization. I mean, like finance, infrastructure, controls department, the business teams, everyone will get you into a brainstorming session or a discussion, and they will prepare a business case in an A3 format, which will carry like the problem statement, what is the goal, it is named either goal or objectives, and how do we achieve it, what are all the requirements for it, and what will be the impact and benefits out of it. So all these will be mentioned on it, and also they will pre-plan. I mean, in the stage itself, they will plan how do we sustain it. So all this will be in the project initiation stage, and then they will prepare the budget for it. So for example, how much of human resources involved, what is the cost of that human resource, and how do we account it. So that will be accounted against a WBS, which is work breakdown schedule. And then is this approved by the higher the top management, and what will be the communication to the wider group of the people, and what is the risk analysis out of it. So whether uh, if the project goes well, what would be the benefit, and if it goes wrong, what is the mitigations of it, how do we hedge those mitigations. So all those will be planned in the definition and planning phase. And second is the launch or execution. So launch is like after they go live, what is the status of it. So what are the KPIs, which is like key performance indicators. So how do they reflect whether we are going in a sorry. Okay. So whether we are going in a positive trend, or how is like we start slow. So are we on an increasing trend over the period of months? So how is our trend is what these execution and like KPIs basically help you understand. The tracking mechanisms will help you understand. And also this phase will help you to create a quality of what is the quality, and whether you should improve on the quality. So all these steps will be on the launch and execution phase. And next is the performance and control. Once we have executed, and also you have come you have reached your like you have passed on your honeymoon period, maybe for example a minimum of 3 months or 6 months. After that, you will be the management will be looking for higher quality of deliverables from you. So they will look for an efficient and effective way of the tools, or like they would need more effectiveness, efficiency from those products. So this is the phase like where the project is basically expected to perform very well with the controls and all compliances in phase. And next is the project closure. Okay. And also the sustainability. Okay. Project closure is like they prepare the reports and evaluate and provide the valuation out of the project and submit it to the management. And they see any project which starts, it has to get a closure as well. So there is no project which is like it's an ongoing project for 15 years or 16 years. Rather, it will be like a time bound project. Even if it is a short term or a long term, maximum of like 2-3 years of project would be there, and that needs a closure, because the project team cannot prevail lifelong. Rather, it will be a post project, it will be an operational team. Okay. So after the project closures, it will be an operational activity. So project is like a fixed period timeline, a timelined activity, which is in a phased manner, which will happen. So basically the project phases is like in five phases. Planning, execution, control, or performance, and then it will end up with the project closure. So so the reason why I asked how is there people with engineering background is like because I just wanted to touch upon this agile methodology. This agile methodology is a process in the project management which is mainly used in the software world. So for example, any IT related projects basically will go through this agile methodology, because not all projects will just end up in one phase. So for example, I'm going to implement some new business model into the system. Okay. So I cannot create a new business model, I mean like system model within a short time period. So for in that case, I will create like phases of it. So I assume that I will in the phase one of the project, I will create a minimum product. So just for an example, let's see, take an example of an mobile application. What happens with that? The any mobile application, for example, the YouTube or even Facebook. So initially they started giving you a minimum product, or even take for a WhatsApp as an example. They created a minimum product, which is like you text around people, you share. I mean, like initially you'll share images to it, right? But later on, in the agile methodology, they keep upgrading it And that upgradation is like, now you can make a video call, and next step is like you can make a video call with multiple people, and now you can delete the messages which is old. So that's the agile methodology, where you keep upgrading your product in a phased manner. It's an ongoing project, which is like, still it's not a long run one, rather it will be an other agile methodology is like, it's an ongoing system process which will be done in a phased manner. And this process is majorly used in the current world in most of the IT projects. IT related projects will follow this process of project management. Okay. So that's how project management. And next I move upon to the project valuations, the profit loss analysis of it. So any company basically is like aims at gaining profits. Okay. If you ask, every company will gain profit? No, at certain period we loss, but majorly all the companies will make a risk analysis to it, and then try to mitigate those risks and get out of it and make profit again. And after making a profit, it will try to maximize the profit. That's how the companies will basically work. Okay. So, okay. So now I am showing up a business canvas model, because this is how a project is basically evaluated. Okay. So I'm just quoting the Google model itself. Okay. So in this Google model, basically, this model is called canvas model. Okay. So in this canvas model, what we basically identify is like, we bring the complete project in one pager. Okay. So we, in the sense, I mean, like, we formulate a model where we bring in overall the counterparties, what is the tools we should use, and how do we how do we generate money, and what are all the cost involved. Everything, we'll put everything in one pager. Okay. So in this, if we start, it starts with key partners. So who are all the partners for Google? So for example, they have some distribution partners, handset alliance. So some people are using this Google Android, so handset alliance, and original electronic manufacturers. So use this Chrome OS. So this is the Chrome OS is these Android operating system devices. So every one is the key partner. And what are all the key activities they need to perform? R&D. R&D is the research and development. So R&D is the lifeline of a product-based company, because you need to keep making so much of research and developments. You need to keep upgrading basically customer requirements, the changing environments. So it's the lifeline of an organization. Next is the two, and you need to have a massive IT infrastructure, because Google is not just a company which is being used at one part of the world, or one part of the country, or one part of the city. Rather, it's like, it's across the globe, and it's the entire earth is using it. So they will have to have manage a massive IT infrastructure. So what are all the key resources needed for it? So they will have big data centers, a massive data center, and the internet protocols, and the brands for it. Okay. What would be the value proposition of it? So what is the benefit we would get? So it's like, when people make web search, Gmail, Google Plus, and all, it's like as a products of Google. And there could be some targeted ads. Then you can have ad campaigns, ad management services, operating systems, Android platforms, Chrome's OS, and any web-based application, Google Apps, and also, for example, you'll have this Google Play Store and all, right? So all these are like the value propositions for it. And what is the relationship for it? I mean, like, you can have an automation. You need to have an automation robots. Like, for example, if someone is going to put a word, for example, we would search this all these. See, I have seen people. What is Akuna Matata and all? We put a search. It gives you some results, right? And that results is like basis an automation. Okay. So basically, the system will try to grab those words and fetch from its data, and project that data to the user as what is that they have searched. So for example, we search some images, or I mean, like, for example, for this PPT and all, I searched this Google Canvas model. So it came up and gave me this Google Canvas model image. So all these, or any details, for even like when we study, we on a topic, we check for this MCQs, or even like on a topic, we find out some essays or research papers, anything we find out, right? So everything is like basis the automation, which is done by the bots, which are projecting our details basis our search. Okay. And we should have a dedicated sales team for the large accounts who reach out to these manufacturers and sell our products, isn't it? So for example, dedicated in the sense like specific, we need to have a separate sales team to reach out to a big customers, I mean like big organizations, and they make a benefit out of our products. So that's what is required here. And what is the channels we could use? So we need to have a global sales team, and also the support team, which is like, if in case of any issues being raised, concerns being raised, there should be an help desk to support the team. And also there should be a multi-product sales force. So it's not that the team is going to have only one application, rather because they'll have many other products. So they'll have to be enabled to handle the multi-product into their uh, portfolios. Okay. Then next is the customer segments, which is like the internet user is our major customer segment, and advertisers who advertise on Google, and next is the Google network members, and mobile device owners, developers, entrepreneurs, or the enterprises or the customer segments. And what is the cost involved for it? So on using all these resources, there should be some cost, right? So basically it's like R&D cost, and that is like mainly it's a human resource cost, and data center operations of it, supply and management, acquisitions, traffic acquisition is like, see this bandwidth, which the 4G, 5G, and also that bandwidth which we buy is like a major, one of the major cost as well. And how do we generate revenues? Basically through these ads. So for example, um, if someone is searching for a car mechanic, so initially that there'll be a list of car mechanics, but if you want your ad to be on the top, you'll have to basically pay and get that ad services. So in such situation, you generate revenue. Okay, in Google websites, and not apart from Google websites as well. So someone is like using this big search or any other search engines. Even in that situation, the Google ads are being generated there. And also enterprise product services. For example, if a company is looking at some product services, so even let's take this SRM. So we have this SRM mail IDs, which is a Gmail, right? But still, it's like you have this srmist.edu in. So that's like an enterprise product sales model. So out of all these, we generate money as well. Same way, I'm quoting one more Google related application, which is this well-known YouTube. So in this, there is a slight of variations to these. I mean, like the one pager, where your key partners would be, one key partner would be like content generators, your shareholders, the alphabets, distribution owners, and this all again this electronic manufacturers, developers. So these will be the key partners. And what is your key? I mean, like key activities. So it will be like algorithms, artificial intelligence, because the search engines basically work on this artificial intelligence, right? And you store your data in cloud computing, search technology, the hardware is required for it, the research and development. Even in YouTube, you'll have currently there is like what YouTube Premium with ad and without ad. So all these will be like your key activities, and the key resources is like the algorithm, Google bot, the infrastructure of it, the IP or patents, the platform expertise, and the Android OSs. And same way, what is the value proposition? Advertisers and publishers, users of it. So all these will be the value proposition for a YouTube channel, YouTube being business model. Okay, and next is the relationship. So a relationship is like the basic users and also the enterprise and large accounts. Those will be the relationship, and like those will be the users of it. And how do we channelize it? So you can channelize through Google Chrome, Google App, and any Android, Google News. So for example, you click on any Google News, it will take you to the YouTube, isn't it? So any place of Google application ecosystem, you can just reach out through through I mean like those channels through to the YouTube, land in YouTube. And next is like the customer segments. Advertiser is the customer segment, and the publisher, I mean the content creator, bloggers, vlogs, online news sites. So they create details, right? And also the users of it. The users, they keep searching for or watch video to gain knowledge. So all these people form the customer segments. And what is the cost structure for a YouTube? So it's like, again, traffic acquisition, data centers, operations of it, research and development, software development would be the cost and cost structure, because these will incur a cost. And what is the revenue generation? Companies like Google Cloud will create a income, because when you start storing, you pay and store, isn't it? Because currently Google is giving you what, maximum of 15 GB of data. So if you want to store more than that, people tend to store it, but they pay and get that storage, isn't it? So in such situation, it's like it's a revenue generation. Again, advertising is one more revenue stream, because any Google video, if you open, it will start with an ad, right? Isn't it? So it will be like either a 10 seconds ad or 5 seconds ad, even 30 seconds ad. So depending on that, there is an income generation to the YouTube. And also the developers, uh, they make some they bring in some money to it, because you can't just be an YouTube developer, right? So then it's like e-commerce transactions. All these form part of the revenue generation. So this is how basically a project is evaluated. And will analyze whether it's going to, whether my cost is more, or whether my revenue is more. So in such cases, it will be like evaluated. And this is how projects are basically evaluated. So you will put, this is the just a trick format. This is an example only. Okay, so for example, if it is put in a business case for freight trading or a shell, any models, we will fill in our key partners. For example, I will put in my shareholders, because they are the ones who are going to approve that business model. And my customers, who is going to supply me products, and also my vendors, who is going to buy products from me. So everyone will form part of these key partners. And what is this key activities I need to perform? I need to explorate the crude oil, then refine it, then transport it to the end customer. And what will be my key resources? So my refinery is a key resource. My exploration platform is a key resource. My vessels are a key resource. So everything will, and operation of it is a key resource. Everything will form part of it. So this is how basically a project is evaluated using a business canvas model. Okay. So finally, I touch upon my business things, which is like I just wanted to. So should I pass for some time for questions, or shall I move? Ma'am? So how do you want? Should I pass for some time for a question? Or?
No need, sir. No need.
Okay.
We will check whether they have any questions or doubts.
Okay. Fine.
Students, if you have any doubts or clarifications, you can go ahead. Sir is waiting for you guys to raise the questions now.
Maybe until this project management and project valuation, maybe you can. I think I've been fast. I'm not sure.
Shall we go ahead, students? Please respond.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it is clear.
Thank you.
Till now, you are clear. Arvind?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sir, you proceed, sir.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, so this is the last slide of my presentation. So this is like one big, I mean, like big concept of it. So basically, it's like how petroleum or any petroleum based products is like moved upon in the life cycle of a deal is like initially it's been explored. Okay, so exploration is like bringing up from the core part, example, it is in sea or ground level at a land also. So there is a certain places where the part of earth is basically very rich in the mineral resources and specifically on oil resource. So there are certain lands like, so as everyone is aware, the Middle East countries basically is very rich in this mineral ore. So in such situation where they will find out a land where the oil concentration is more, and the companies will make a drill deep into the lands until the core part of the earth, I mean to the rocks, and they will dig out these, explore these energies, which is like they will be a crude oil, and it is basically we call it as an hydrocarbon, and those hydrocarbons are like explorated, and they are brought to the top of the sea level, above sea level. So you can see like the platforms and seas where it will be drilled into deep inside the seabeds, and below the seabeds they will explorate all these mineral ores, and that will be brought up through a pumping model, and that is then transmitted to the, it's basically that um, exploration brings out a crude oil. Okay, and that crude oil is transported through a ship. So basically the ship vessels are like into two different forms. I mean, in a oil trading world, a tanker vessel is in two different form. Apart from that, we have many other vessels like the cruise ships are there. You have this container vessels, and I mean, like you guys would have recently heard the Suez Canal where one vessel was fully blocking. That was like an Mediterranean shipping company's vessel, which is a container vessel, which blocked the entire passage of Suez Canal for close to 14-15 days, and which yielded like a loss of 2 billion, 2 to 3 billion per day for the entire globe. Because like Suez Canal is like a man-made path where the countries, which is like a shortcut instead of going round through Africa and reaching out Europe. This ships basically take a shortcut through Egypt and enter into the Red Sea and Caspian Sea of Europe region and transmit. I mean, this it's like just a shortcut. Okay, and every ship will basically pay and get into that route. Same like there is one more canal for South America and North America, which is like the Panama Canal. Ships basically transmit through it instead of going round and around the globe, around the complete American continents. Other people, I mean, like the ships will go through these passages. Okay, so basically, this crude ship is like a very massive vessel which could carry around like um, 20 2 lakh 2 lakh barrels of crude oil. Okay, 2 lakh barrels, how to say it in a common term, it could be what, it can, 2 lakh barrels is like it can serve a country's petrol requirement. For example, in India's petrol requirement is like for entire month.
Sir,
Uh,
2 crores liters, sir.
okay, so that's what is, so for India's requirement we can serve with I mean, like maximum of 3-4 vessels for 1 month we can serve the entire India's requirement. That's how crude oil basically. And also there is one information which I specifically wanted to share. Basically, any product we refine will, so for example, or the rice flours and all, we if we grind it, it will reduce the capacity. But crude as an beauty, which is like when you refine a barrel of crude, it will give you 110% in return. The reason is because crude is the thickest form of an oil, and when we refine, we keep making it thinner and thinner. So diesel is like at an certain stage of a thinner, and petrol is at certain stage, and white petrol is the thinnest form. And also this crude oil is like every stage of refining is going to give you some byproduct. For example, in the form of a gas, okay, liquefied gas. So, and next is like even the left out, final left out product is the bitumen, which is the tar which we use to lay our roads. Okay, so every stage in this crude oil is, I mean, like crude oil is basically shipped to the terminals and then it goes to refineries. And when we refine, we get so much of byproducts out of it, and that byproducts is basically 1/10% of a barrel. So for example, whatever you put 100%, it gives you 1/10%. So that's how it yields money to the business. And with that, the trading houses trades the byproducts and sell it to the end customers, and it can be distributed by means of, like, again, shipping will be involved to there will be a product tankers, which we call it. Those product tankers will be small of size, because crude oil is the main I mean, like, raw material, and with that raw material we create many other byproducts, which is fuel oils, or you have biogas, you have LPGs. So everything will be like of a smaller size of a vessel that will transport to the retailers. So again, the transport to the retailers will happen through trucks, and in India it's just only the trucks. And some cases there are pipelines, but most other countries it transmits through the pipelines. And we have rail trucks which carries the oil fully, and also the tankers which are in massive size. And also we supply to the industries as well. So for example, all our countries basically generate power through the byproducts out of this. So all these years it was like, initially it was with coal, but nowadays current are generally generated out of LNGs, LPGs. All these are used in the form, in the fact, industrial manners to generate power. So Shell as an plant, along in, I mean, like in sub association with the Gujarat government, we call it as an Azira LNG plant, where Shell is actually supporting the generation of power for India. And also Shell has a JV with Reliance Industries, where in Kakinada we have a refinery in place, which is like refining all the crude oil products, as well as we have the LNG products as well, LNG and LPG products as well. Apart from that, Shell has a major business with aviation technology.
So I have a question, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, what do you think about the future of the petroleum? As you know that there is um, a initiative by the Indian government regarding the smart city, and there are hundreds of smart building in our country, and all are actually shifting. At least 10% of each cities are using renewable energy. With time, they will shift from 10 to 20 to 30%. So if all the cities which mainly consume their petrol for economy boost, they are actually shifting towards the green economy. So what do you think about the future of petrol in our country?
Okay, so this is like a very, I mean, like, we are used to this question, being in an oil company. And even we, once the Shell CEO was asked, he actually bought a electric car. Okay, so the entire world, I mean, like, the global news channels like Reuters, everyone was asking, Bloomberg was shooting a question to the CEO of the Shell. So since you have bought an electric car, was that a sign that your industry is going to end up? The answer was like, no. See, petroleum, I mean, like, the crude oil is not just like only petroleum, or not only diesel. Rather, the petrochemicals are the major input for all your means. So for example, the sanitizer you use, the mask you use, I mean, like, any plastic you use, anything, everything is made of petrochemical products. Because only with a certain mixture of a certain minerals out of the crude, which is made out of the crude, you can make the other product. So in such situation, the future of petroleum is not just it's completely going to vanish. Rather, it will certainly be there, but the volume of it might reduce. And that's the reason, since I initially stated, all these oil majors are now moving into an energy company. So they are now started generating energies which are like less impact to the globe, to the earth. So, for example, as you said, the renewable energies. So, do you mean this solar panels is like a very better mean? To alternate to this oil? The answer is no. The reason is because if you could see the other worlds, India has not moved into solar much. But for example, let me quote the Kochi airport. So if you could notice, the Kochi airport is completely run by solar. The electricity for Kochi airport is generated from solar, but it has taken a massive land from agriculture. So it has it. I mean, like it has replaced that agriculture land to a solar panel. So even that is bringing in a carbon footprint. So basically, what made this world to evolve from petroleum to the renewable energy is because of the carbon footprints. So the carbon dioxide, which is generated out of this petrol or any other the crude related product, and its impact on the environment, that has made the world to push these energy these petroleum companies to move into an energy company and become a renewable energy companies. So that's it is like that is because of the carbon footprint. And now if you could um, monitor or track these companies like British Petroleum, BP. Don't confuse with the Bharat Petroleum. So British Petroleum BP is like uh, one total. I think total is total petrol bunks. You can see it in Chennai itself. Now there are many total, and also Chevron is there. So if you track all these companies' business models, everyone is now saying that by 2050 we will reduce our net carbon footprint by 50%. So they are not saying that we will completely vanish, because everyone knows that crude oil is the main ingredient for the entire world to run, that too in this modern world of business. Okay, because any product is basically made out of it. So even your MRI machines, any medical related machines is also made out of this byproducts of all these crude oil and petroleum products, petrochemical products, let me term it. So does that answer the question?
Yes,
So
sir.
the future is like it's not immediately going vanishing, rather it will take at least few at least 100 years to say, and we are not immediately moving downward trend.
Yes, yes, sir. But when you see the development of India in terms of the renewable energy, sir, we are actually moving very fast than any other country. Even the
I would say, see, being in this energy sector, I would say India is not that great moving fast. Okay, so if you could notice across the globe, the Western countries, like the developed countries, they have moved very far behind. Like far ahead, because if you could notice, they have started the vehicles. Like the electric vehicles, and more of electric power stations have come up. In all our petrol stations have been replaced with the power stations. But if you could notice in India, just for an example, in Chennai, so how many electric scooters you have? It's hardly the initial stage of the electric scooters. So for example, let me quote this TVS iQ or this Ather and all is like not that great well known. So Bajaj Chetak, all these even recently Ola, okay, all these companies are like in the initial stage. So it's that the first model of a electric scooter is going to get into the market. But if you notice the Western countries or the developed countries, you have so much of versions of it. See, if you could notice this iCube, it can maximum take you to at one single charge of like 2.5 units or 4 units of current. It will take you to the maximum of like 100 kilometers distance. That's the mileage for it. For example, if you take an Ather, it can take up to 150 kilometers. But at the speed, if you maintain an economical mode of speed for 50 to 60 max, or even 70, which is like this Komaki and all is claiming. There is a vehicle in Komaki which is TN95 or TN45 something model, which is a sports version. In that model, it can take you up to 75 kilometer with the maximum speed, and that can gain you a 120 or 115 kilometer range of travel, mileage of travel. That's what they say. and that could cost you 4 units of power. Okay, but all these are like a minimum variant, minimum viable product which has been available to India. You have not seen. And also, even for example, if you take the cars as well, car segment as well, four-wheeler segment, you don't have much I mean like varied products. You don't have many products to choose from. Rather, you'll have only minimum amount of products. But when you take the Western countries or the other part of the globe, the developed nations of the globe, you have so much of options for you. And also, the at the moment we are restraining to buy an electric bike or car because of the reason you don't have charge points across the country, isn't it? In that situation, India is still not moving ahead. And also, at the moment, India is not into the LNG of it. So even we are still in petroleum. If you notice, the other part of the world, they have already moved their vehicles into LNG. Most of their vehicles are in LNG mode. So they are not using this the crude or diesel vehicles more anymore. I mean, like the volume of it has reduced a lot, and they have started moving to the electric cars with the varied options of it. But in India, it's still not that paced up because our infrastructure is not that great. That's the reason that the government is like looking at introducing this smart cities where they can bring up the options for this charging points. The I mean like the footprint or the landscape can be wider is what the government is now trying to do, and that too in a certain area which they are trying to do. Once that is spread across the country only, I mean like that is not 100% possible, but at least if that can be achieved to 50% of the landscape of India, then that's the better position it what I would say. Sorry, did I answer your question?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that's how basically, I mean, like we cater to the needs of the world, and also in world fuels also, even in aviation, there are like the fuels which produce or let out very limited amount of carbons to the space. I mean, to the atmosphere which it is flying. That's how the model basically works. And what is the role of finance here? Finance, if I could say it right, finance is involved in every step of this business. For example, exploration. We name it as a like upstream business. In an upstream business, we need to manage the assets of the business. So asset management, which is the major part for finance, because you need to maintain plant and machinery, which is like you'll have to perform your depreciation accounting. You need to bring out what is the benefit we have achieved out of it by exploring. I mean, what is the cost involved in? So at what time we need to replace those assets and machineries, and what is the operating cost of it? What is the capital expenditure out of it? So everything has to be calculated, forecasted, and risk managed and projected to the high level management at exploration stage. And same with the production and exploration is almost same way. You carry it, pass it through a pipeline, and then move through a shipping. And also even in shipping, it's not just like this shipping, it takes like to run a voyage, it takes at least 1 lakh minimum for a small vessel. And that is like the cost of moving from for example, India to Singapore, it will cost at least 3 to 5 lakhs of the freight cost. I mean, like the transportation cost is like at least 3 to 5 lakhs, which we charge when we give a ship. So Shell has like we manage close to 220 vessels. We don't own any single vessel. That to crude or products, Shell doesn't own any single vessel. Rather, we lease it from someone else, and we hire it from someone else, and we run it on sub hire. So these tradings happens like no vessel will be owned by any company. Okay, there will be vessel owners. For example, let me quote an example like the Ola business model. So do you think Ola owns entire amount of cars? No. So same way, So Ola is like they take it from many individual partners. They consider them as partners. They take the vessels on higher basis. For a month I will pay you this much amount of money, but I will run it on multiple trips, and that trips also I can pay you some incentives. So that's how it has been happening. Same way, Shell or any freight trading house will basically take a vessel from some head owner, some vessel owner, and we will manage the vessels on multiple voyages. We will pay to the head owners, the vessel owner. For for example, if it is a very large crude carrier, okay, so it's like a crude tanker, we name that as a VLCC, very large crude carrier, and that VLCC will basically cost like per day basis. So the rent for per day is 25,000 per day, 25,000 US dollars per day, and that will be calculated the number of days the month vessel has been used for. Sorry, could you please go on mute? Mr. Rahul, could you please go on mute? Sorry to name you. Okay, fine, thanks. So the very large crude carrier vessel will be like the starting rates of the vessel per day will be like it starts from 25K US dollars to 35K US dollars in a normal period of the business. So for example, when we consider a business like the unexpected happening, which we call, which is like, if I can quote this COVID time, I'm not sure whether everyone followed this news channels during COVID. So basically, crude per barrel, we at this before COVID, during March 2020, it was like $32 per barrel. Okay, but during COVID, it went to minus $32 per barrel. Where came a situation, we paid to the buyers saying, take this oil and we'll pay you to take this oil. Just take this oil out of our place. Reason is because we cannot stop an exploration plant. The cost of stopping and restarting that model is like, it costs us very, very high. So in such situation, they will try to store it. So basically, not all oil is taken directly and then sent to the buyers. Rather, it will be stored at certain place. So those storage terminals were full. They have reached their capacity, maximum capacity. And every day, for example, this Oman alone, or even let's quote this Saudi Aramco, which is the the world number one oil company. Okay, Saudi Aramco is like the Saudi Arabian oil exploration company. Okay, it's a government-owned enterprise, and that's the world's number one oil profit-making company, crude oil profit-making company. So what happened? Saudi Aramco at certain stage, what they did, they said that we will increase our production by 20,500 barrels per day. So if they have increased, say every day they are set to create, for example, 1 lakh barrels per day. Then every day it will create 1 lakh barrels. They will just accelerate 1 lakh barrels. That's how the acceleration model is set up. It keeps flowing to you, and you can't stop it. If you tend to stop it, the cost of it will be so high. Okay. In such situation, companies tend to store them at certain places. Once the storage capacities have reached, what happened? We started storing in the vessel itself. So if you can Google it, maybe you can Google parallelly. So if you can Google it, like in the COVID time, the vessels the vessels used for floating storage during March to September 2020 around North American Sea, you can see that it's like a big, big fleet of vessels were stores. I mean, like floating across the North American region, because America was the major hit place because it was the one which was creating so much of oil. So it didn't have a place to store. Rather, they took up the vessels to store their oil. So these vessels will be like, they will be, instead of carrying it to one place to other, it will just be carrying the oil and it will stand still. It'll be put in a place. It will not move further, and it will just store as a floating storage. I mean capacity, floating storage unit. Okay, so in those cases of business model, the rates of these vessels will go very high. So what happened is like at an usual situation, a very large crude carrier will cost per day 27K US dollars, but it costed around 132K US dollars. So 1,32,000 US dollars per day. So what we do, we take the vessels on hire and we run on multiple voyages. So for example, we pay these vessels for, so since it is like 25K per day, it will cost us 300K per day, which is like 3 lakh US dollars per day. But we run vessels on multiple voyages. So for example, in that 30 days, this trading house will try to Shell Freight Trading House will try to run at least 2 voyages, and one voyage at the rate of 4 lakh US dollars, and another voyage at the rate of at least 200 or 300 US dollars, sorry, 200 or 300K US dollars, which is 2 lakh US dollars. Okay, so in such situation, which team, I mean, like we will make profit. Initially, we'll pay all the cost, which is to the head owners. We, in the sense, I mean, like I'm coming shipping finance team, will pay to the head owners and recover it from the persons, the customers whom we have catered or whom we have provided this transportation service. So in such situation, finance is involved here as well. And next is the storage terminals. Even for storage terminals, we manage the storage terminal, either if it is owned storage terminal, or we can rent out at certain situation where the capacity of production is more. So when we rent it from someone else, we'll have to make a payment to it, isn't it? So in that situation also, finance is involved here. And also the refineries, I mean, like you have, apart from the human resources cost of refinery management, where the technical teams involved in refining those products, the plant and machinery of it, or how much you can refine, what is the risk attached to it, everything has been like, even in all those stages, finance is getting involved. Again, trading is the main place where majority of MBA could fit in this organization. I mean, in the Shell's organization. The reason is because what we are supposed to do is like, in this trading world, most of the grads are put in place. We are asked to analyze the markets basis the past history data, where you can tend to see how the the oil prices fluctuates, and what is the I mean, like what is the analysis which we could make. For example, my trader would have put a deal for an anticipated price after 1 year. So I need to anticipate, or like I need to make a study and analyze with the tools which is available within the organization, with the past history stating. So for example, today the oil price is like $60, and after a month it will be $72. So I need to project what will be the profit if it is $60, and what if the profit is $72, and what if the profit or loss when it comes to $30 next year. And for that $30, we'll have to find out ways how do we mitigate those risks. So for example, should we invest in some other bonds, or should we hedge it with the currency investment? So for example, today's US dollar, so what traders will basically do, they will try to hedge it. Hedge means like mitigating that risk. So mitigating that risk by means of like investing it like gold bonds, or they will try to invest in like the currency markets. So for example, US dollars per day, US dollar to INR, it would be what, 74, 73.6 yesterday, and later it might go up to 74. So they will try to invest in that markets and gain benefit out of it. With that profit, they will try to mitigate the loss which is coming out, or anticipated, or like forecasted out of this trading business. So in this place is the, I mean, like the profit and loss analysis or forecast is the major place where the finance is basically involved. And next to this distribution, where you pay or recover, which is like you supply the products, and then you recover from it, out of it, or either you purchase the products, I mean, you purchase the raw materials or goods or services, and then you pay for it. Accounts payable is like procure to pay, and receivables is like record to receive. That's how it is. And okay, so meanwhile, let me, I just wanted to share one more a short video, I mean, which is like what is the vessels. Okay, let me put this. How does a crude tanker vessel will look like? A small video out of it. I think you should be able to hear the voice, I mean the sound as well. Are you able to hear the sound?
Yes, sir. Yes, we just tried, sir. The video is on, sir.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think- No, not yet played here.
Who is it? Actually, played it. No, ma'am.
No. The same PPT slide is there in your screen.
I'll switch to this screen. Okay, let me. Okay. Now, ma'am. Now you can see my.
Yes, sir. It is going. Wait.
Okay, I'll play from the beginning now.
Okay, sir. Sir, even now it is not visible. The video is not visible. Only the PPT slide is there in your.
Okay, let me then minimize.
So you're just sharing the PPT screen, sir.
No, I have actually shared only one screen. I have only one screen. Let me check how do I.
Otherwise, you close it and again you can share the screen, switch on to the video screen.
Now, ma'am. Now, can you see that, ma'am?
No, sir, not yet. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Let me play it from the beginning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But I couldn't hear any volume, I mean sound. Students, are you able to hear any volume, any sound, any music over there? No?
Okay, I think I need to.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay, I need to choose this one.
Yes, sir. Perfect.
Now it's okay, no?
Yes.
So actually, that was like just a view to know how does a crude vessel will look like. So how massive is it? That's what
Yes,
I
sir.
was actually trying to project. Okay. So now floor is open for like questions. So you can ask any questions.
Any questions, students? Any questions? People are wondering. So this is new to them. Actually, this is a new concept for some of the students, I believe. Might be students from mechanical background, they might be learning some of the concepts. I understand. The remaining all, it is very much new. Even they are going to get their production and operation management subject, in which they are going to understand all these concepts, supply chain and logistics management in detail. Okay, so it is a base, the strong base you have created, sir. Thank you so much for this platform. It is a very informative and inspiring session. Students, if you have any doubts, you can ask sir now. No doubts?
See, I am.
Yes, ma'am. Sir, we have actually the fourth most abundant country as per the coal is concerned, sir. But still we are using petroleum as a source for generating electricity in our country. So what is the reason behind that?
That's what. So as I said, it was like the carbon output. So when you burn a coal, the
So
carbon output.
both actually releases only carbon after burning.
No, that's what the volume of the output volume is what it has been measured. So, for example, even in LNG case, if you burn LNG, it is going to output your carbon dioxide, but still the volume of carbon is the the factor which decides which is energy efficient.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
So let me say you quote one example. There is even in these sea routes, wherever the vessels travels, if you notice, there is a place called ECA, emission control area. So when you go around Europe related sea area, they call it emission control area. In that emission control area, you're not supposed to see every vessel. Basically, when they carry, as we use, there is a fuel for it. Okay, so vessel can run in diesel engine or fuel engine or gasoline engine. Okay, but there is a difference. When they will use two different fuel oil. Instead of, it's like not only bike we can use only petrol, or car it can be only diesel, right? The vessel is like different way. It can use high sulfur fuel oil or a low sulfur fuel oil, which varies basis the sulfur content of it. So when you go to ECA region, or in America, it is like special like emission control area. So when you go to these regions alone, you are supposed to emit or use only low sulfur fuel oils.
Yes, sir.
You can't emit high sulfur. So that is actually the differentiating factor, which is considered a efficient, energy efficient replacement for coal or petrol.
So coal is actually has more sulfur release than
high carbon release.
High carbon
content is high.
Okay, so but when you look at the high developed countries also, sir, like
and also there is one more reason for moving from coal to it's like the availability of mineral ore, availability of coal content in the Earth's bed. That's also one more reason for moving to the next different, because you can't completely deplete the resources, right?
Yes, sir.
So due to that availability, less availability of those resources, every country started looking for an alternate product, which is like they started going for the petroleum related items, which to generate electricity. And now they have started moving to LNG with the use of liquefied natural gas. They are trying to generate electricity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sorry to interrupt, sir, but that was my question. My question was like, we have coal in our country, a lot of abundance, but still we are actually actually importing the petrol, and even countries like USA, which lies below as far as the abundance of the coal is concerned, they are burning the coal only. They are not importing any kind of petrol from Saudi. They are burning.
No. The US is like it's a very big seabed where the US West Coast has so much of oil content. So it's like if you notice there are so much of oil platforms, which exploration platforms in US West Coast. But yeah, so maybe I mean like as you asked, the carbon content is one reason, and also maybe even though there are so much of abundant availability, I think there should be some reason behind which they are using, but which I've not done a background check on it. Maybe I can check on it. That's like one thing.
So basically, we are what we are doing is we are importing petrol and burning the petrol to extract the coal from. So I don't even know why are our government doing that. That's what
I mean. I would feel is like it's an efficient way, and the cost of doing it. That could be the one is what I could think of. And also India has started moving to LNG, burning LNG instead of petroleum as well.
Yes, sir.
I mean crude oil as well.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thanks. That's a good question.
Any more questions, students?
And I can quote one. I mean, like I can point one thing. So for people who are from engineering background, and if you're again going back to your IT corporate world, obviously these project management would be a better. I mean, like one useful source, and also you can hear this agile methodology across your organization, any organization you go. Okay, so that could be one thing. And also I would suggest, like if you are so much interested, there is so much resources available across the LinkedIn and any other this Udemy and all platforms. I think not sure whether SRM has a course specifically for project management
strategies. There's a trending moon concept of,
yeah, so there is like a certification programs happening across the industries. You need to be like, you can have this project management certification. Project management programs are there for a certification. So if you're like an engineering background person and you're again planning to go after this MBA, you're planning to get into this IT world, then I would suggest to do those certifications, because see, irrespective of any background, we need to keep us always upgraded. Same like in a product which has R&D, the human resource who's, I mean, like who are in a corporate or not in a corporate, we keep learning on a daily basis. So we need to have that interest towards learning, and you need to keep yourself doing so much of certification courses or like a short-term diploma courses to enhance our careers. So just to quote my current thing is like, the reason I'm doing MBA with SRM is like, I'm not a CA professional. I mean, like not a finance professional. Okay. So if you notice in Shell has like out of 3,500 employees in Chennai alone, we have close to 2,000 chartered accountants. Not only chartered accountants, we call them as like the professionals who are either CA, ACS, or even they could be this CMA. So there are triplets, gold medalists, and we also have grad programs who are directly from IITs and IIMs. So I mean, like the quality of Shell has grown drastically. Initially it was only the finance basic finance employees. Now due to the complexity of the business models, it has evolved to a different mode now. So in order to compete with the teams, we are like equipping ourselves with the different mm, uh, certifications. So for me to get an MBA is because I need to apply for a CIMA, which is certified management accountant, which is like from UK, which is a global, or like there are many other courses as well. So to be a certified professional, you can be a US CFA or CPA, which is certified professional accountant or a financial accountant or a management accountant, which is like, see, we have not done CAs in India. So if you aspire to get a professional accreditation as well, after MBA we can do that. And also, and since I am part of this shipping finance related one, I'm planning to do one more course, which is like ICS. I've registered this month, which is like Institute of Chartered Shipbroking, wherein I can jump in from finance. Also, I can jump into and become a freight trader. So, I mean, like you need to keep learning. Don't leave that learning aspirations, interest. So keep doing more and more of courses to upgrade your skills, which will help you to grow up your career. So for me, I mean, like I made a mistake. I made a big gap after my graduation. I stopped a lot. Gave a big gap to again jump into this learning career. So since you guys are like in the starting stage, please maybe you can keep that as a piece of advice or a suggestion from my lessons of life. So which is like, please continue that. Don't give a gap to it. You can do any small courses as well, 6 months crash course, a small time diplomas, anything to just enhance your skills and knowledge. Please keep doing it. So I think that's I could term that as my end note, closing note.
Yes, sir. Perfect, sir. Perfect. It's a brilliant information. Students might be enjoying your contribution for the whole 1.5 hours. Thank you very much, sir. Before we winding up,
Thank you.
Our HOD ma'am is joining the session now.
Stop sharing.
Ma'am, good morning, ma'am. Rasida, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
We have our guest for the session, Mr. Jagdish. He is basically a project manager, financial aspects. Sir, our HOD madam is here, sir.
Hello, ma'am. Thanks for this opportunity.
Ma'am, you are muted. Ma'am, Rasida, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming, Jagdish, sir. Thanks for taking, accepting our invitation. Thanks for sparing your time. I know it is very valuable, but you have given a lot of, wealth of information to our students. So I really wish to express my gratitude. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thanks for this opportunity.
We will approach you again for one more.
Yes.
For our, operations management students. It's a wonderful information, excellent information. You were giving. Thank you very much.
Sure, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Sure, ma'am.
Before we are winding up the session, I would like to call upon Ms. Varsha to deliver a vote of thanks. Varsha is available there. Varsha?
Yes, ma'am. A big thank you to you, sir, Jagdish, sir. We really enjoyed your session about project valuation and profit realization. We are really we really enjoyed your this thing, sir. We are looking forward to meet you again because we want to learn more and more from you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Further, I would like to thank management and Dean CV Jayakumar, sir, and VP Academics Professor C. Gomati, and VP Research Professor S. Kesavan, and HOD Professor C. Prasida, ma'am, and event coordinator Dr. M. N. Prabhadevi, ma'am. And thank you, my dear friends, and thank you, Almighty. Thank you.
Before we winding up the session, I request the students, those who are presentable, can you switch on your video mode to take the photograph? I can see very few. Thank you. Sir, thank you very much for your kind support. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks all.
Thank you. We are yet to start the next session. Our guest is online. Prasida ma'am, shall I invite the guest for the next session?
Yes, yes, please do. Go ahead. Naina?
I hope Aishwarya is ready.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Abhishek.
Hi, ma'am. How are you? It's been really long.
Welcome again to our campus virtual mode.
Abhishek, how are you?
All good, ma'am. How are you, ma'am? It's been really long.
Really, very, very long. Nice to see you, see you like this.
Thank you, ma'am.
Looking so very responsible, huh?
Not like the days before 2014, 16 and all, right, Abhishek?
Yeah. So, ma'am, just for my understanding, we have around just the first year MBA students, right?
Yes, this is the platform. We are having our first year MBA students. Actual students is more than 195.
Okay.
Since the process is happening, some of the students, they have come to the campus physical mode.
Okay, understood. Understood.
Online mode, people are listening. Around 146 students are there in the Zoom meeting.
Got it.
Okay. We'll be having another 1 hour session with you.
Sure thing. Sure.
Before we start the session, I would like to call upon Miss Aishwarya to introduce the guest to our students.
Sure.
To have a few words. It's a formal one.
Sure.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, Kanna. Yes, perfect.
A very good morning to all the dignitaries, respected teachers and students. I feel privileged to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Abhishek Vasudevan sir, one of our very successful alumni. He completed his engineering from Chennai in the year 2016. He then worked with Deloitte as a business developer for 1.5 years before doing his MBA. He did his MBA in our SRM ISC Vadapalli campus on marketing and HRM. During the course, he was co-founded by 2 companies, one which is a Chennai-based e-commerce company and other being a digital marketing company. Post-MBA, he joined Times Internet Limited as a sales manager. From there, in the span of 3 years, he grew into a manager for strategic accounts. The Times Group, he also launched Inresto, a F&B-specific SaaS product in Chennai, Abu Dhabi, and Dubai, and also launched Dynode Passport, a premium membership program in Chennai. Now, he's currently heading the digital sales vertical for Dynode in Chennai and Abu Dhabi. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Abhishek.
Sure. So let me quickly present my screen. Ma'am, can you disable this particular feature?
You as a co-host, Abhishek.
Okay.
1 second, 1 second. It's done. Can you please check?
Yeah. Yes.
Now you can.
Yeah. So, hi everyone. Let me quickly start the session. I don't want to take too much time of yours. So, let me start with the agenda of the session, right? So, let me go with my personal experience, what I learned in this past few years, from engineering to SRM and to working with Times Group. And I also wanna, because I kind of learned few experience in this past few years. So that is, how to spend your time productively while pushing your MBA as well as, going forward. And see, the thing that I'm currently presenting is kind of totally contradiction to what the topic is, right? So I actually want to talk more about why do you guys want to work for a startup in the future rather than going for a corporate. Again, corporate has its own pros and cons, but why do you want to prefer a startup for the learning curve and understanding the existing startup ecosystem? So this, whatever I have understood till date, I've put it in a slide. Let me also explain it, and I'll come back to it. That is, what is Delta 4 and Delta 4, I mean Delta 1 and Delta 4 products, and how to explore the market, start a business, and raise the funds if you're gonna start a business in the future, right? And what not to do a business, because I made a lot of mistakes, so I can share my personal learnings also there, and how to put a build good, a proper team, right? So let me start with my personal experience. So I completed my engineering in 2016, and from there I started working for a company called TAFE. So it's a tractor manufacturing company, which, so engineering to a lot of people, even in this particular session, right, it would have been an accident or, so I didn't have any idea what I was doing. So I jumped into engineering, and automobile was something which I liked. So I thought, that will be my forte. So I took automobile engineering, and then I started working for TAFE. So I was with them for 6 months, and I noticed one thing, that is not which I wanted in life, right? So I thought, okay, let me take a break for 3 months. Let me decide what I want. So in the span of 3 months, nothing happened. I didn't figure out anything. So Deloitte was actually, I would say, it was a new experience. So my friend referred me there. He used to work there. That's how I got into Deloitte. Since it was a sales profile, I was easily able to get him, right? But when I got into Deloitte is when I understood that sales and marketing is something which I really liked, right? Because I didn't have a complete idea of how sales is going to work or marketing is all about. I started really loving what I was doing. And that's when I thought, okay, let's work here for some time, let's say close to 1.5 years. And then let's get into an MBA, proper course, because my background was totally different, right? So that's when I got into MBA. And when I got into MBA, I think in the month of August only, I wanted to start this e-commerce site because I had a small dog, and that's how I wanted to get into this business, because I saw potential there, and that's how I started this company called PetPanda.in, right? So you've seen Amazon and how all these companies work, right? So PetPanda is basically an e-commerce site where you get A to Z services and products for pets. Let's say you want to book a consultation, you can book a consultation through the website. Let's say you want to buy any pet products, everything was available, readily available there. And I was running that business for close to 1.5 years, right? Uh, Unfortunately, the business didn't pick up. We went into a loss because of a lot of other factors, which I understood after 2 years. I'll tell you those things also. And with one of my, friend from SRM, who was my, we are still in touch and we're still good friends. So his name is Sri Ranga. So we started this company called Android Eye Solutions. So when we started Pet Panda, I found a scope in digital marketing because I used to approach a lot of digital marketing companies for them to help me out to run my, ads and all that. So I thought, why can't we do this for ourselves as well as do for other clients, right? So that's how I started Android Eye Solutions. We had a good amount of clients in Chennai, to be frank. So we were more restaurant specific because I had a lot of my friends who started restaurants. So that's how we got into the digital marketing space of business. So I think a lot of people will know about a place called Cycle Gap. Most of the restaurant bars in Chennai, we were doing their digital marketing in that particular time. So it was I won't say it was doing great. It was doing okay, good. But did I see a future in digital marketing? To be frank, no, because currently, if you see, a lot of people talk about, digital marketing is the future and all that. I'll tell you what are the cons in that. And now coming to Dynout. So frankly speaking, SRM gave me this opportunity, right, to work with a startup. It's not a startup now. The company got acquired by Times of India Group, right? So I've been with them for the past 3 years, and it's been really a very good journey, right, with them. So post that, when I joined Dynout, that's when I started learning a lot of things about this F&B sector. One, my digital marketing company helped me to get a proper job in an F&B sector, that is Dynout. And two, I learned a lot of things about SaaS. I think I even saw your, the event, this thing where someone from, some alumni from Freshworks. I don't know whether the session was completed or not. But similar to that, we are also, producing softwares and selling it to the food and beverage companies, right? So I'll explain you each and everything. And I also learned more about offline and online marketing. So yeah, let me talk about. So this was my interest, right? So whatever I have learned till date, let's make it a bit, an interactive session. And can someone tell me, or out of this 130 or 140 odd people, right? If you're comfortable, you can, you can unmute and talk. If not, you can, put it in the chat box here. Do you want to start a business or go for a job? Let it be let us make a interactive session. Anyone?
Startup.
Okay. And if it's going to be startup, which type of industry that you want to get into?
Actually, I am owning an computer store, so that's the reason I call startup.
Got it. Got it.
I want to just shift from that to shop or studio.
Okay, got it. So you want to get into the retail business, right?
Yeah.
Understood. And apart from, sorry, I didn't get your name.
Abhishek.
Abhishek. Okay. So apart from Abhishek, any other student want to talk about it?
Hi sir, I'm Salman here.
Salman sir, Abhishek.
Okay, Abhishek, good to meet you. And yeah, I would like to looking forward to go for a job, and then probably start a business or later.
Okay.
Because my first preference is to go for a job after completing MBA.
Got it.
And then yeah, with that experience, and also
that's a very good choice, actually.
Yeah, if I feel this is not my thing, I'll probably switch to a business. I'm more interested in probably marketing and HR, those HR and those digital marketing, those kind of stuff.
Got it.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking.
Understood.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, okay, that's a good thing, right? So, frankly speaking, a lot of people want to start a business, but we'll have a certain amount of knowledge. But if you see the outside world, right, it's totally different, correct? So starting a company is not a huge thing. The major thing is to sustain the organization, right? And sustaining an organization comes with a lot of challenges. One is funding and your idea, and you have to keep innovating to be on the market. And Salman, that you wanted to get into a digital marketing space. Yeah.
Yes,
bro.
Yeah.
Digital marketing, when it comes to digital marketing, frankly speaking, there are a ton of players. Chennai, close to more than 10,000, 15,000 companies. Even so, now the current scenario is like, if you're going to provide a service, either you have to be someone who's well known for a pretty long time, like I don't know if you follow this Saurav Jain, EcoVM. There are multiple companies in Chennai, right? Social Beat and Sulti is a company. Chennai headquarters, which is EcoVM. So even companies, they make a ton of money and they generate a good amount of business. One, through their past history and all that, and they keep inventing a lot of things, right? The way they run a business, they're not providing a product or something. Basically, they are providing a service, right? Anybody can provide a service, and service optimize பண்ணி ப்ராப்பரா கொடுக்கிறதுனால they are able to sustain. அது எல்லாராலையும் பண்ண முடியுமா அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா அது இப்ப இருக்கிற காம்படிஷன்ல it's going to be really tough. I'll give you a very good example. Okay. So a lot of people know about cycle gap, right? The resto bar and okay, let's
Yeah,
start off.
yes, bro. Yeah.
Okay. So Cycle Gap, when they started, we took their marketing thing and we were charging them close to 45,000 rupees per month. So this I'm talking about when I was doing MBA, when me and Ranga were doing MBA, right? என்ன problem பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, we were able to retain the client for 8 months. Post that, a lot of other companies started approaching because there are multiple players, right? இப்போ எப்படி இப்போ நான் பண்ணணும்னு இருந்தேன், மேபி சால்மனே என்னோட ஒரு காம்படிட்டரா இருந்திருக்கலாம் ஃபியூச்சர்ல, கரெக்ட்? Anybody will approach them saying, I can do the same thing at a much lesser cost, let's say 20,000 or 25,000. Sorry, 25,000 will close the deal. Future there'll be some more other people who will approach them saying, I'll do the same thing at 15,000 rupees. So it's an ongoing competition, and are we going to sustain in the market? That's a huge question. And the quality and price has, the quality nalla high irukonu, price has to be really cheap because of the current competition in the industry. So if you're going to get into a service based thing, try to get into something which is very niche, or let's say, there's a very less amount of competition, so that you can at least sustain, survive, and you can put your eggs into multiple buckets in the future stage, because you've already seen revenues, you've already gained some, a huge amount of experience through that. So you can at least sustain in the business, right? And let's say, Salman, just giving you a suggestion, okay? Let's say you wanna get into a business in the future.
Okay.
Or let's say you wanna get into a work. Let's consider work for now. Let's say if you wanna get into a work, frankly speaking, more than a corporate, that is post India, more than a corporate, I personally would prefer to work for a startup. The reason being, it's more dynamic, number one, and there's a multiple set of changes, right? So see, I worked with Deloitte earlier, with Staffing. இது எல்லாமே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு ப்ராப்பர் ஒரு கார்ப்பரேட் ஆர்கனைசேஷன், எல்லாமே ரொம்ப ஃபிக்ஸட் ஸ்ட்ரக்சரா இருக்கும். There won't be any changes. நீங்க என்ன பண்றீங்களோ அதே தான் நீங்க ரிப்பீட்டடா ஒரு மோனோட்டனஸா you're going to keep doing it, right? ஒன்னு அது பார்த்தீங்கன்னா கொஞ்சம் போர் அடிக்க ஆரம்பிச்சிடும் over a point. And number two, you won't be learning as many things as a person who's working in a startup, and growth rate it's not that great, to be frank, right? This is what I have seen. Maybe whatever I'm saying might be wrong, but நான் பார்த்த வரைக்கும் என்னோட ஒரு 3-4 years experience வரைக்கும் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா this is what I have learned, right? So it's always better to start your career with a startup as நான் சொல்ற மாதிரி ஒரு 5-6 employees வச்சு அந்த மாதிரி இல்லை, நல்ல ப்ராப்பரா ஃபண்ட் ரேஸ் பண்ண ஸ்டார்ட் அப்ஸ் நிறைய இருக்கு. I'll show you a list of companies so that you'll get an idea. Sure. Right? And in these 2 years, I feel I kind of made it useful, to be frank. Engineering, I really wasted it, as well as my schooling, I wasted it. There was no idea. It was just fun, go to college, enjoy, and come back, right? MBA, I kind of took it seriously. I don't know why. Maybe because of the surrounding that I had, as in my friend circle was very, they were pretty mature. So maybe I started thinking in that way, right? So these 2 years, I would say, either start exploring what you want, and ungaloda interest ennavo, try to upgrade your skills there, because once you go out, right, post MBA, there's a lot of competition. Trust me, there's too much competition for everything and anything and everything, right? So, and this is one last thing which I still regret I didn't do it. I want you guys to do it, because it is something really helpful, right? One is network building, right? So the reason why I'm telling that start building network is network as in your school members, your college members, because I'm this person who's very, very much, I used to be a person who was very introvert. இப்போ எம்பிஏலயே பாத்தீங்கன்னா நான் இன்ட்ரோவர்ட்டா தான் இருந்தேன். இப்போ பாத்தீங்கன்னா நான் டோட்டலா மாறிட்டேன். ஸ்டார்ட் டாக்கிங் டு பீப்புள் ரேண்டம்லி. சும்மா அவன் யாரும் கூட தெரியாது, போய் நானே இன்ட்ரடியூஸ் பண்ணி how are you, what's happening, how's everything, how's your work. The reason why I do all these things is I'm trying to build my connection, and future, these people are going to help you out. Let's say all these 130 or 140 members who are currently here, I don't know the current strength, but yeah, உங்களோட first year students are இருக்கட்டும், second year students are இருக்கட்டும், 5 years down the lane, these people are going to end up in a company where you might be selling something that's going to that is required by them, or there might be one of your potential clients, or they might be business owners in the future, right? Where you'll also be a business owner. உங்களோட ப்ராடக்ட் ஆர் சர்வீஸ் அங்கே போய் செல் பண்ற மாதிரி இருக்கும். இட்ஸ் ஆல்வேஸ் குட் டு ஸ்டார்ட் பில்டிங் நெட்வொர்க். இஃப் யூ ஹேவன்ட் டன் இட், ஐ திங்க் 2 years இஸ் மோர் தென் எனஃப், ரைட்? இப்போ நெட்வொர்க் பில்டிங் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, ஐ டெல் யூ வாட் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் டூல்ஸ் தட் ஐ யூஸ். ஒன் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா லிங்க்டின். LinkedIn is, that's really amazing. If you don't have a LinkedIn account, because I never had a LinkedIn account till I join பண்ணி ரொம்ப நாள் கழிச்சு தான் நான் ஓப்பன் பண்ணேன். LinkedIn அக்கௌண்ட்ல ஸ்டார்ட் ஃபாலோயிங் பீப்புள், எங்க ஒர்க் பண்றாங்கன்னு பாருங்க. Again, idea behind the thing is start building it, right? And the pros that I was telling you, right? Why to work for a startup. One, learning. Trust me, this is really true. The reason why I'm saying this again and again is in the startup culture la pathina, these people will make too many changes in a month. Let's say Dinote edukonga, or the Inresto product that we were talking. These people will make a ton of changes on a real time basis. Or maasthile pathina kittathata or 7-8 changes will be following one particular thing. Try பண்ணி பார்ப்பாங்க, ஒர்க் அவுட் ஆகல, அகைன் நெக்ஸ்ட். ஸோ ரியல் டைம் எல்லாமே நடக்கிறதுனால ஒன்று பார்த்தீங்கன்னா உங்களோட லேர்னிங் கர்வ் எங்கேயும் இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆகிடும், நம்பர் 1. அண்ட் நம்பர் 2, அந்த ஒரு எந்த ஒரு சிச்சுவேஷனுக்கு யூ கெட் அடாப்ட் டு இட். இனிஷியலி இட் வில் பி ரியலி இரிட்டேட்டிங், பிகாஸ் ஐ ஃபெல்ட் இட். ஒரு ஸ்டார்டிங் ஒரு 5-6 months பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இட் டுக் மீ a lot of time to first initially set in and all that. But over a point I got used to it. நானே ப்ரெடிக்ட் பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டேன். ஓகே, கரெக்டாக 1 weekல மாற்றுவாங்க, பார்ப்போம் என்ன ஆகுது ஏதாவது. அது அவங்க ஏன் ரியல் டைமாக பண்ணுறாங்கன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, they want to experience, because startup are the companies where they want to see growth at a very quicker pace, not like a corporate. Like let's say ஒரு 1 yearly 10x growth எதிர்பார்ப்பாங்க. லிட்டரலா that's what it's happening, right, outside. ஸோ எல்லாமே ரியல் டைமாக எக்ஸ்பெரிமெண்ட் பண்ணி பார்த்துட்டு இருப்பாங்க. அகைன் உங்களோட லேர்னிங் கர்வ் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ரொம்ப பெட்டராக இருக்கும். தட் இஸ் ஒன் திங். அண்ட் மோராக பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ப்ராசஸ் ட்ரிவனாக இருக்காது. ஐ டோன்ட் நோ இஃப் யூ கைஸ் ஹவ் ஒர்க்ட் இன், அதாவது பிஃபோர் ஆஃப்டர் யுவர் பேச்சுலர்ஸ், இஃப் யூ கைஸ் ஹவ் ஒர்க்ட், நிறைய கார்பரேட்ஸ் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா தேர் மோர் ப்ராசஸ் ட்ரிவன் ஆஸ் இன் பண்ண ஒர்க்கை திருப்பி பண்ணிட்டு இருப்பீங்க. தே ஒன்ட் பி எனிதிங் எக்ஸைட்டிங். ஒரு ஸ்டார்ட் அப் வந்துட்டீங்கன்னா எவ்ரிதிங் இஸ் அபவுட் நம்பர்ஸ். வாட் எவர் யூ டூ, இட்ஸ் ஆல் அபவுட் நம்பர்ஸ். அண்ட் அகெயின் ஒர்க் கல்ச்சர். இப்போ மிகப்பெரிய இப்போ இருக்கிற மோஸ்ட் ஆஃப் த ஸ்டார்ட் அப்ஸ், லெட்ஸ் சே Zomato ஆர் ஃப்ரெஷ் ஒர்க்ஸ் ஃபார் தட் மேட்டர், ஆர் Allyன்னு சொல்லிட்டு தேர்ஸ் அ கம்பெனி விச் இஸ் இன் சென்னை. I'll get back. It's a very interesting company. ஸோ இவங்க ப்ரொவைட் பண்ற ஒர்க் கல்ச்சர் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இட்ஸ் ரியலி கிரேட், வேர் none of the corporate organization can provide, right? And one more thing is, whatever the suggestions you give, any suggestion, it might be even dumb, right? They'll actually start valuing it. They'll actually experiment it. If it's not working out, they're not going to put you down. They'll ask you to bring more on the table, right? Because that's what you're getting paid for. And those people kind of actually recognize all those ideas. Whatever you give, they'll experiment it. Set ideas அப்படின்னா that will be a part of the business, if not nothing, right? And again, work recognition, everything, right? So let me go to the next slide. So these are the industries which I personally thought is booming, currently booming, and will have a good future in the upcoming 20-25 years, right? ஒன்று பார்த்தீங்கன்னா டெலிவரி பிஸ்னஸ். இதில் இருக்கிற எல்லா பிஸ்னஸ்லையும் நான் காட்டுறேன் in the future, but every business that I'm talking about here, இதுல எல்லாமே ஒரு பாத்தீங்கன்னா இப்போ ஒரு 10 years, இந்த ஒரு past 10 years if you see, there are multiple new companies that came on board and they are really doing amazing job, and they have actually done a sale of more than what a proper well established corporate was doing, right? So let's say Zomato is literally doing a sale of the Zomato company itself is valued around $7-8 billion, right? Which is a huge thing for a company which is just 11 years or I think if I'm not 13 years old. And fintechல பாத்தீங்கன்னா உங்களுக்கு இந்த Zerodha இருக்கு, Paytm இருக்கு, SaaS based again, Freshworks, Ally, Zoho, FMCG there are multiple companies. I'll get to FMCG as well as pharmaceutical. Pharmaceutical will always have a future. And e-commerce. E-commerce pathina, there are currently two giants in the market. One is Flipkart and Amazon. And apart from Flipkart and Amazon, there are multiple companies which still have a small percentage of stake in the market, right? Let's say for women can pathina, there's a brand called Nykaa, right, which is very famous, and they're doing an exponential job, as well as the growth rate, if you see, it's really nice, right? And edutech companies pathina, Byju's, or let's say Unacademy, there are again multiple companies. And electrical energy. The reason why I put this is, I don't know whether you started seeing this change. இப்போ நீங்களும் நான் இப்போ நம்ம தான் அந்த ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் சேஞ்சில் அந்த ஒரு ஷிஃப்ட்ல we are actually seeing it on a lively basis. ஒரு 2-3 years வரைக்கும் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இந்தியாவில் இந்த ஒரு எலக்ட்ரிக் வெஹிக்கிள்ன்ற கான்செப்டே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா let's say 0.0001% அவ்வளோதான் இருந்தது. If you see currently, right, let's say Honda for that example, or TVS, or Ola pathina, they were into cab booking service. Now they are getting into electric vehicles, right? The reason why all these people are getting into this particular market is, over 10 years we are going to slowly see a shift from or a fossil fuel industry, we are going to shift into a complete electric based industry, right? That's why all these companies are jumping into. So let's say any company that's pertaining to electrical energy, it might be a scooter manufacturing company or a car manufacturing company. Let's say electric vehicle ku thevayana accessories, it might be your batteries, lithium ion produce pandra, and the raw materials, all these companies are going to boom. And I see a good amount of future, a ton of startups coming into this particular segment. Innu varala, I'm suggesting you guys can pick it up if you have any ideas, or let's say already your parents or someone who's already into this, and if you want to grow rapidly, there is an option here. And in terms of growth, முன்னாடி ஒரு business start பண்ணும்போது funding இருக்காது. Let's say the idea might be really good, but you won't get any funding, or let's say you would have approached bank. இதுதான் முன்னாடி இருந்த scenario, right? Now the scenario is totally different. I'll tell you why. So if you see here, right, there are two type of companies, correct? One pathina, all these are startups. All these companies came in this 10 years of span, that is from 2010 to 2020-21, right? And if you see all these companies are worth more than $1 billion, apart from cred. But the reason why I put, I'll again come back to it. And a lot of companies, if you look at current ecosystem, they are making money as well as they are burning money more than what they are earning, right? If Zomato went to an IPO, correct? They filed an IPO. Now it's a properly listed company. Zomato is valued around $8 billion currently. But if you see Zomato's loss, Zomato is making around close to $600 million American dollars loss on a year-on-year basis. They have their own set of reasons and everything. If you go to Google Play Store, you will see Zomato is one of the editor's choice application. They have more than 140 million app users, if I'm not wrong. And there are multiple pros to it. Among the reason why they are in this cash burning stages, if you assume Zomato has started over 30 years back, or let's say 20 years back, with the application and all that, let's say and the technology and the time let's assume, they wouldn't have grown to an extent where they have reached currently. என்ன சொல்ல வரேன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, Zomato காட்டின ஒரு growth இருக்கு இல்லையா, இந்த ஒரு 10 yearsல, none of the companies have done it, right? The reason being, one, lot of people here would have used Zomato. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? Everybody is a user of Zomato currently, right? அதாவது இப்போ இருக்கிற current generation. அவங்களே நம்ம எல்லாரையுமே அக்வயர் பண்றதுக்கு what they did, we see a ton of ads. Let's say you go to Facebook, you go to YouTube, you see their ads everywhere. And let's say உங்களோட அந்த Zomato Pro இருக்கட்டும், the discounts that you get each and every delivery, whatever that anything pertaining to discount and advertisement, that's where Zomato is currently burning their cash. The reason why they are doing is, one, அவங்க லிட்டரலா பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு கம்பெனியா they have seen a 10x growth what a normal corporate would have done 20 years back, right? அந்த ஒரு 10 வருஷத்துலயே ஒரு 10 times அதிகமா grow ஆயிருக்காங்க. அந்த அளவுக்கு கஸ்டமர்ஸ் அக்வைர் பண்ணியாச்சு, அண்ட் அந்த அளவுக்கு கேஷ் பர்னும் பண்றாங்க. The reason why they are burning their cash, so that you don't drop off to any other application, you stay inside the application, you get used to the application, right? Over a period of time, let's say ஒரு 5 years கழிச்சு பாத்தீங்கன்னா அது எல்லாமே ஸ்லோவா டிக்ரீஸ் ஆயிட்டே வரும். பட் அந்த ஒரு ஷிஃப்ட்ல இருக்கும். The same goes to Unacademy. Swiggy அதே தான் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க. Urban Company, Oyo Rooms, Paytm. So Freshworks and Ali, they don't burn cash, but I'll come to it why I put here. So there's a small concept here, okay, which I actually found it in the internet. So this guy was explaining it. Who Mr. I don't know. So let's make it a bit interactive now. Cred யாரை யூஸ் பண்ணிருக்கீங்களா இது வரைக்கும்? Solomon or someone, have you used Cred till date?
No, sir, no.
Okay. So Cred என்னன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, it's actually a very interesting application. இப்போ, and before me getting on to Cred, right, I'll tell you what a lot of startups are doing. என்ன ஐடியால ஒர்க் பண்றாங்கன்னு I'll tell you. இப்போ, if you take the current scenario, see, we kind of found a solution for each and everything, right? There's invention, it's very minimal. You don't have to, go and invent something like a tire or a bulb. அதெல்லாம் முடிஞ்சு போச்சு, கரெக்டா? இப்போ எல்லாருமே என்ன பண்றாங்கன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, ஆல்ரெடி பண்ண இன்வென்ஷனை they are trying to optimize it. Let's say Zomato எடுத்துக்கோங்க, or let's say Swiggy, நம்ம ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் எடுத்துக்கலாம். Swiggy, they are purely into delivery business, right? முன்னாடி, let's say you can call up someone, let's say an XYZ restaurant, and ask them to deliver at your particular home. You can give them the address, they'll come and deliver it. This was the earlier old age scenario. What Swiggy did, already there's a solution. They didn't stick on to it. They wanted to simplify the whole process. So if you take any company for that matter, they are basically simplified the process. It's a Urban Company, Cred, Ola kum pathina munadi we had a similar thing called fast track. Munadi call பண்ணுவோம், அவங்க கேப் அனுப்புவாங்க. இப்படிதான் முன்னாடி சினாரியோ இருக்கு. எல்லாமே ரொம்ப சிம்பிளிஃபை பண்ணிட்டோம், டிஜிட்டல் ஆக்கிட்டோம், கரெக்ட்டுங்களா? ஸோ இது ஆக்சுவலா இந்த கான்செப்ட் ஒன் எக்ஸ்பிளைன் நோ. Delta 1, Delta 2 and 3 and Delta 4, right? Delta 1 are the companies, இதுல நான் ஒர்க் பண்ற கம்பெனியும் இந்த கேட்டகரியில தான் வரும். Delta 1 பாத்தீங்கன்னா, the companies, these are the companies which won't have a future in the future stage. I'll tell you what is the reason. Let's say Unacademy for that matter. If you take Unacademy, Unacademy is purely into a proper it's a proper edutech company, right? They are into training and development and all those stuffs. But if you see the education space that is currently available, right, and in the pandemic, it became a catalyst, to be frank. So Unacademy, they've seen a good growth, but over a point it has seen a saturation point. The reason being, one, too many competitors are there in the market, and they had to rely upon content making to sustain in the business. And again, the reason why I'm telling all these are Delta 1 products is, நம்ம டிஜிட்டல் மார்க்கெட்டிங் பத்தி பேசணும் இல்லையா? மல்டிபிள் கம்பெனிஸ் ஆர் தேர், சேம் சர்வீஸ் ஆஃபர் பண்றாங்க. அதே ஒரு சிச்சுவேஷன்ல தான் இந்த எல்லா கம்பெனிஸும் மாட்டிட்டு இருக்கு. யூ டேக் டைனோட் ஃபார் தட் எக்ஸாம்பிள், ஜொமேட்டோ பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க, ஈஸி டைனர் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க, அண்ட் வோடோஃபோனும் அதே ப்ராப்ளம் தான், ஜியோ, ஏர்டெல் இருக்கு, அகைன் Unacademy. ஸோ இந்த கம்பெனியோட ஃபியூச்சர் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு 10-15 இயர்ஸ் கழிச்சு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா there's a big question mark, right? So what these people are actually started doing is they're trying to go from Delta 1 to Delta 2 and 3 to Delta 4. So Delta 4 are the set of companies which will be successful no matter what. ஏன்னா இப்போ கரண்ட் காம்படிஷன் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ரொம்ப கம்மி, நம்பர் ஒன். அண்ட் இவங்களுக்கு ஃபியூச்சர்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ரொம்ப அதிகம். அண்ட் லெட்ஸ் கம் டு Dineout now. I'll tell you why Dineout I have put it under Delta 1 is, like I said, Zomato is already doing it. It's a table reservation platform, right? Number one, when it comes to table reservation, in India, there's and the culture it's a very niche kind of a culture. So number one, பார்க்குற நம்ம அவங்க செலக்ட் பண்ண ஆடியன்ஸ் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு ரொம்ப நீஷ் செட் ஆஃப் க்ரௌட். லெட்ஸ் சே இப்போ சிட்டியில் ஒரு 100 பேர் இருக்காங்கன்னா மேபி 20 or 30 people might use it, right? ஸோ ஒன்று யூஸ் பண்ணுற ஆடியன்ஸே ரொம்ப கம்மியாகி போச்சு. And I'll tell you what Dineout is doing this to overcome, and they want to become a Delta 4 company. அவங்க என்ன பண்றாங்கன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா they started following the same business model of what Zomato is doing. They're not going to get into a delivery space, but they started relying upon discount. So இப்போ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா they were into reservation space. Now slowly, if you see the application, I don't know whether you guys have used it. If not, they have slowly started migrating from a reservation module to a offer-based module, right? From there, what they are currently doing is Dineout acquired close to 4 different companies in the past 4 years, right? The reason why they have done this particular thing is, one, not to put their eggs all on one single bucket, and when there is no demand, not to collapse. இப்போ அவங்க என்ன பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டாங்கன்னா they are into this SaaS based hello, can you guys put it on mute? Yeah, perfect, thank you. So இப்போ Dineout என்ன பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டாங்கன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, from ஒரு table reservation platform, they started expanding to what Zomato is doing, that is an offer driven platform, to what Freshworks and Freshworks Zoho பண்ற மாதிரி. அதோட ஒரு B2B wing தான் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா Interestone சொல்லிட்டு they have named it. So they have jumped from a table reservation company to a SaaS based company in the span of 5-6 years. The reason why they have done it is to jump from Delta 1 company to a Delta 4 company, right? So that they can sustain in the market for a very long time, which they have actually done, because Dineout B2B wing has become one of the most successful companies in India when it comes to F&B specific software manufacturing, right? So they are more keen on that now because they have started generating more revenue and they have a very good market share now. So soon Dineout is going to move from Delta 1 to 2, 3 and to Delta 4, right? Now let's talk about Delta 2 and 3. If you see Zomato, Oyo's behavior, or Paytm or Swiggy's behavior, they're all successful companies. Oyo current on the pandemic, they got a huge hit, right? But which 3 companies, if you see, all these are successful companies. They make a good amount of revenue. They are burning a lot of cash compared to what they are earning. The reason I told you earlier, just to acquire new set of customers. In the cash burn, they are stuck at Delta 2 and 3, right? Once they stop all these things, they'll get into Delta 4. The reason why they are burning so much cash is they are making users, that is you and me, to try out new restaurants, number 1, to try out new cuisines, that is number 2. And நீங்க நாங்க நம்ம எல்லாரும் என்ன சாப்பிடுறோம்ன்ற வரைக்கும் they have a proper customer profile. So let's say இப்போ எந்த அளவுக்கு customer profile அவங்க கிட்ட இருக்குன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, let's say I am there, okay, in Zomato's database. Let's say Abhishek is there. Let's say Abhishek would name, email ID, mobile number, என்னோட address, என்னோட work location, நான் எங்க work பண்றேன்ற வரைக்கும் தெரியும். And நான் எந்த ஏரியால யூசுவலா இருக்கேன், என்னோட ஸ்பெண்டிங் கெப்பாசிட்டி எவ்வளோ ஃபார் அ மீல், அண்ட் யூஸ்வலாக நான் எவ்வளோ டிக்கெட் சைஸ்க்கு ஆர்டர் பண்ணுவேன், அதாவது எனக்கு மட்டும் பண்ணுவேனா இல்லை 2-3 பேருக்கு சேர்த்து பண்ணுவேனா, அண்ட் என்ன ஃபுட் நான் ஆர்டர் பண்ணுறேன்ற வரைக்கும் தெரியும். ஸோ இந்த டேட்டா வச்சு வாட் தீஸ் பீப்புள் டூ இஸ், இன் த ஃபியூச்சர் தேல் ரன் ஆட்ஸ் வேர் யூல் கெட் இன்ஃப்ளூயன்ஸ்ட் by those ads and you will start ordering. So இதுதான் இப்போ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா Swiggy and Zomato are currently building, and ஒரு 4-5 years down the lane this will become a Delta 2 and 3 company to a Delta 4 company, right? Now coming to Delta 4. So there are 4 companies in this list. There are much more. Time being in the well-known brand என்றதுனால போட்டிருக்கேன். If you see Zerodha is a proper, a trading application where they didn't spend any of what Zomato or Oyo is doing. அவங்க வந்து cash burn எடுக்கல, just that they made the application free of cost for a pretty long time. I think very recently they started charging ஒரு commission மாதிரி, right? The reason why they did all that is they gave a complete product to a customer. அதாவது அந்த ஒரு brokerage app was already available. A lot of people were already providing it, but the only issue was and the commission was on a very higher scale, number one, and number two, product lo ulla nariya flaw irundhudu. So they rectified all these issues. They branded the product as Zerodha and they put it in the market at free of cost. People started using it, they started adapting to it. So Zerodha Kudiye pathina, they have around 7-8 applications where you can learn how to trade, you can learn about mutual funds. There are multiple other offerings that they provide. So Zerodha went from, they started in 2010, they went from to a $0 company to a $1 billion company without spending any money in a span of 10 years, right? Which is a very good thing. And let's say இப்போ நம்ம வந்து ஒரு service based ஒரு organization ஏதாவது ஒன்று ஆரம்பிச்சு நீங்க or let's say ஒரு $1 million reach பண்றதுக்கே it's going to be a huge thing in the mode. The reason why I'm telling you this, I'll get back to it, but again, so Zerodha is one of the success stories. And urban company again pathina, they provide everything. Adavadhu ungaloda or carpentry service, plumbing service, AC mechanic, even they started even doing spa, haircuts and all that. Idu ellame pathina, it's already readily available, right? Usually இவ்வளவு நாள் எப்படி இருந்தது, நமக்கு தெரிஞ்ச ஒரு கார்பெண்டர் இருப்பாங்க, we'll call them, அவர் வந்து he'll fix it up and he'll go, or plumber, the same scenario, right? இவங்க என்ன பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டாங்க, they found out ஒரு small issue there. அதாவது என்னன்னா, ஒரு price வந்து ஃபிக்ஸடாவே இல்லை, அதாவது வேரியபிளா இருக்கும். அவன் வந்து அவனுக்கு அந்த டைம்ல என்ன தோணுதோ he'll fix that particular cost, and நம்ம வந்து அவங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்சவங்கன்றதுனால we have to make that payment to get the job done, right? They kind of bridge that gap, right? And they did a lot of promotions at the stage one. Currently also they are doing, but munnaluk intensa kadiyadu. Now urban company went from a loss-making firm to a very profitable firm in a span of 5 years, which is a very good thing. And இப்போ வர்ற முக்காவாசி startups பாத்தீங்கன்னா, let's say they are not going for a service driven thing and already competition இருக்கிற மாதிரி போக மாட்டேங்கிறாங்க. All these people are, what they are doing is they're finding a small an existing solution and they're making it more simplified and very user friendly for the user, and they are making money out of it, right? And coming to cred, which I found really interesting, I think even you guys will like it. So if you see cred, right, cred pathina, let's say if you use a credit card, if you don't use it, obviously you will end up using it, right, in the future. Credit card நம்ம ஸ்வைப் பண்றோம், let's say 30,000 40,000 on a month basis. சும்மா ஸ்வைப் பண்றோம், ஒரு 40,000க்கு நான் இந்த மந்த் நான் ஸ்வைப் பண்ணிருக்கேன்னு வெச்சுக்கோங்களேன். Let's say I become a cred member, right? Not everybody gets a chance to become a cred member because the credit score என்ற ஒரு விஷயம் ஒன்று credல இருக்கு. So இந்த credit scoreலாம் ஆல்ரெடி ஐடியா இருக்கிறவங்களுக்கு வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா உங்களோட லோன்ஸ், அதாவது உங்களோட பிஹேவியர் வச்சு they'll define a particular score. அதாவது உங்க பேர்ல ஏதாவது லோன் இருக்கா, நீங்க ஏதாவது டியூஸ் கட்டாம வச்சிருக்கீங்களா இல்லையா, அதுக்கேற்ற மாதிரி ஸ்கோர் ஏறும் குறையும், சரிங்களா? So what cred did is cred took in people whoever had a credit score of more than 780, which is a very good score. So cred kulla member இருக்கிறவங்க வந்து ஒன்னு their behavior is really good in terms of paying the money, and high spenders are panga. That's the reason they have reached around 780 or 800 score there. And third is these people pay their payments on time, right? So what cred did is cred only letting download panni neenga install pandringenu vechukonga, it will ask for your credit card information, your email id, your mobile number, everything. Once you put in all these things, it will ask for your PAN card, your Aadhaar card and everything. It will automatically fetch your credit score, your unga perla enna loan irukku, everything it will fetch automatically. And cred basic enna pannudunu pathina, ஆல்ரெடி இருந்த ஒரு ப்ராப்ளம் தான். அதாவது ஐ வாஸ் ஃபேஸிங் திஸ் ஒரு 2 years முன்னாடி வரைக்கும் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, இப்போ நான் ஒரு பேமெண்ட் லெட்ஸ் சே ஐ வாண்ட் டு மேக் அ பேமெண்ட், அதாவது என்னோட பில்லை நான் பே பண்ணுறேன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன். வாட் ஐ யூஸ்வலி டூ, ஐ கோ டு லெட்ஸ் சே HDFCயோட கிரெடிட் கார்டு லாகின் போயிட்டு அங்கே போயிட்டு ஐ ஹேவ் டு என்டர் ஆல் மை டீடைல்ஸ் and then I have to put the amount manually and then I'll make a payment, right? And ஒரு 2-3 days கழிச்சு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இந்த மாதிரி அமௌண்ட் ரிசீவ்டு நோட்டிஃபிகேஷன் வரும். அண்ட் என்னோட நான் யூஸ் பண்ண கிரெடிட் கார்டோட அமௌண்ட் அங்கே பே பண்ணிட்டேன்ற ஒரு கன்ஃபர்மேஷன் வந்துடும். கிரெடிட் பேசிக்காக என்ன பண்ணுறாங்கன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, as soon as you get an email and an SMS notification in your mobile, Credit automatically fetches that particular data and it will start notifying you that, let's say, hey Abhishek, out of your 2 credit cards, your HDFC has sent a bill payment that you have to make a payment currently, which is around, let's say, 40,000 rupees. Please make it before, let's say, from in the first 10 days to pay panninga, you will get 5% cash back, flat 5% cash back. Let's say 10 days அப்புறமா கட்டினீங்க அப்படின்னா you will get 2% cash back. இது கடைசியாக கட்டிங்கன்னா they won't give you any cash back as well as உங்க கிரெடிட் ஸ்கோர் வந்து கம்மியாகும். ஸோ கிரெடிட் என்ன பண்ணாங்கன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, ஆல்ரெடி இருக்கிற ஒரு சொல்யூஷன் தான். they simplified it. The reason why they did all these things is to again understand the customer behavior. So இப்போ future எல்லாமே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா they are more into what is that, data, right? So அதாவது so they started more concentrating on the data and with உங்களோட ஸ்பெண்டிங் கெப்பாசிட்டி, உங்களோட நீங்க எவ்வளோ உங்களால வந்து லோன்ஸ் எடுக்க முடியும், இந்த ஒரு இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் வச்சு they started doing business, right? So கிரெடிட் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா it's free of course, they don't charge you any money. In fact நீங்க அவங்க ஆப் யூஸ் பண்றதுக்கு they are paying you money. நீங்க அவங்க ஆப் யூஸ் பண்ணி பே பண்ணீங்க அப்படின்னா they'll give you 500 rupees, 600 rupees. So lot of people what they think, சும்மா எனக்கு கொடுத்துட்டு இருக்கான், why I won't use it. The reason why they are doing it is, one, they are getting your data, and two, நீங்க என்னென்ன ப்ராடக்ட்ஸ் வாங்குறீங்க, ஏது வாங்குறீங்கன்றது உங்களுக்கு எல்லாமே தெரியும். அதாவது ரீட்டைல் அவுட்லெட்ஸ்ல ஏதாவது போய் நீங்க லெட்ஸ் சே ஹோம் சென்டர்லயோ இல்லை லைஃப் ஸ்டைலையோ போய் ஏதாவது ஷாப்பிங் பண்றீங்க அப்படின்னும் போது they'll get to know about all those things. They are collecting all those data. And now what Credit is doing is, now இவ்வளவு நாள் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா they were burning a huge amount of cash, right? ஒரு past 2-3 years பார்த்தீங்கன்னா லிட்டரலா பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 600 million லாஸ்ல போயிருக்கு. They didn't make any revenue till date. இப்போ அதாவது இந்த பேண்டமிக்ஸ் டைம்ல தான் they introduced one more thing called இந்த லோன்ஸ் நம்ம வாங்குவோம் இல்லையா. லெட்ஸ் சே யூ கோ டு அ பேங்க், யூ அப்ரோச் அ பேங்க், யூ வில் கெட் அ பர்சனல் லோன். லெட்ஸ் சே நான் ஒரு பர்சனல் லோன் ஒரு 5 lakhs நான் எடுக்கிறேன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன். ஒரு இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் பர்சன்டேஜ் எப்படி சாலிடா பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இட் பி சம்வேர் பிட்வீன் 14 to 15%. And all these are compound interest. If you calculate it, it will be on a higher scale, right? What Credit is, so Credit has currently built a huge community now which has a very good amount of users where their credit score is more than 780 or 800, right? And what they are basically doing is, ipo let's say if I am a Credit member and let's say Solomon is a Credit member, let's say I want, இப்போ எனக்கு வந்து எனக்கு கேஷ் அர்ஜென்ட்டா தேவைப்படுது, I need some money in my account, I can lend money from someone as a Credit member. Credit will become a mediator, and Solomonக்கு என்ன ப்ராஃபிட்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அந்த அமௌண்ட் வந்து அவங்க பேங்க்ல சும்மா இருக்கிறது, இட்ஸ் நாட் கோனா, இப்போ ஒரு எஃப்டியில் போட்டால் let's say 5% or 6% வந்து ரிட்டர்ன்ஸ் கிடைக்கும். அதுவே நீங்க இப்போ கிரெடிட் இவங்க கிட்ட இருந்து ஒரு கிரெடிட் மெம்பர் கிட்ட இருந்து நீங்க வாங்குறீங்க அப்படின்னும் போது 10% இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் கட்ட அவங்களுக்கு. ஸோ சால்மனுக்கு என்ன பெனிஃபிட், ஹீஸ் கெட்டிங் இன்ஸ்டெட் ஆஃப் கெட்டிங் 5%, ஹீஸ் கெட்டிங் 10% ரிட்டர்ன். எனக்கு ஆஸ் அ பர்சன் ஹூஸ் ஆஸ்கிங் ஃபார் லோன் எனக்கு என்ன பெனிஃபிட்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, மீ இன்ஸ்டெட் ஆஃப் பேயிங் 15% டு த பேங்க், ஐம் ஜஸ்ட் பேயிங் 10%, ரைட்? ஸோ இதுல என்ன ஒரு பெரிய இதுன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, எல்லாருமே நல்ல கிரெடிட் ஸ்கோர் இருக்கிற ஆளுங்க. ஸோ த சான்சஸ் ஆஃப் தெம் சீட்டிங் இஸ் வெரி மினிமல், ரைட்? அண்ட் Credit will act as a mediator as well as act similar to how a bank acts. They'll get the money, they'll give it to you, they charge a commission out of it. Now this is their first business model. இப்போதான் அவங்க அதை லான்ச்சே பண்றாங்க. இப்போ செகண்ட் இதுக்கு அடுத்து அவங்க என்ன பண்ண போறாங்கன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, அகைன் நம்மளோட யூசேஜ் எல்லாமே they understood, ரைட்? எவ்வளோ கேஷ் பர்ன் பண்றோம் எல்லாமே அவங்க தெரிஞ்சு வச்சுக்கிட்டாங்க. இப்போ ஃபியூச்சர்ல என்ன பண்ணுவாங்கன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, இன்டர்னலா தே ஆர் பில்டிங் அன் இ-காமர்ஸ் பிளாட்ஃபார்ம். ஸோ based on your needs or your spending capacity, they'll start running your ads. Let's say என்னோட capacity வச்சு they assume that I can get a car worth which is around, let's say, from 8 lakhs to 12 lakhs. எனக்கு அந்த செக்மெண்ட்ல இருக்கிற கார்ஸோட ads மாத்திரம் தான் அவங்க ரன் பண்ணுவாங்க, right? And they'll sell those advertisements to Facebook and all these other companies, so that எதுக்கு இது பண்றாங்கன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, வெளியே இருக்கிற lot of ad companies, they spend a lot in terms of marketing. Let's say இப்போ ஒரு நியூஸ் பேப்பர் ஆட் போடுறீங்கன்னா, கிட்டத்தட்ட ஒரு 5 lakh பீப்புளுக்கு அந்த நியூஸ் பேப்பர் வந்து போய் சேரும். அதுல நிறைய பேர் பார்ப்போம், அதுல பாதி பேருக்கு அந்த ஆட் தேவையே படாது, வேஸ்ட் ஆஃப் மணி. அதனாலதான் ஆடோட எக்ஸ்பென்சஸே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ரொம்ப அதிகமா இருக்கும். இப்போ இவங்க ஃபியூச்சர்ல இவங்க என்ன பாக்குறாங்கன்னா, லெட்ஸ் சே நீங்க 10 ரூபாய் போடுறீங்க ஒரு ஆடுக்கு, 10 ரூபாய் போட்டு ஒரு 200 ரூபாய், ஒரு லெட்ஸ் சே 10 rupees போட்டு ஒரு 200 rupees வந்து ப்ராஃபிட் எடுக்க பாக்குறாங்க. ஸோ திஸ் இஸ் த கரண்ட் சினாரியோ தட்ஸ் ஹேப்பனிங், அண்ட் ஆல் தீஸ் கம்பெனி ஆர் ட்ரைங் டு டூ த சேம். ஜொமேட்டோவா இருக்கட்டும், யுவர் பேடிஎம் ஆர் ஈவன் ஸ்விக்கி ஆர் கிரெட் இஸ் அ வெரி குட் எக்ஸாம்பிள் விச் இஸ் கரண்ட்லி டூயிங் இட். ஏன்னா தே know for the fact that they are not going to make money if they are going to run this business model, which they did for the past 3 years or 2 years, if I'm not wrong. And then they started building something like lending money from one person to another person, and they started commission. This is their first revenue model, right? Now they are slowly paying whatever the loss that they incurred. Ipo aduthu pathina data collect panniyaachu. With these data they are going to make money, and trust me, in another 2 or 3 years Credit will become a profitable company, and it will become, you know, a very good product in the future, right? So po idile irukra ella companies um pathina, they are trying to build a product which is more unique in its own way and which is more user friendly to its customers, as well as they are looking at a thing where they should not even hire a salesperson in the future. The reason why I'm telling this is, let's say if it's going to be a Delta 1 or a Delta 2 or 3 product, appada or a salesperson and amche in the mari product vainkonga, that's when we are going to do all that, right? If you get into this bucket called Delta 4, you don't need a salesperson. You just need to build your product. You just need to keep innovating your products. People are going to automatically come into your platform and they're going to keep supporting you, right? So the reason why I told you all this is, you can get into a startup space, right? You can work for it, or let's say you want to start anything in the future, you can go ahead and do it. But if it's already an existing thing, and let's say there are multiple people, let's say something like a digital marketing company, the chances of us sustaining is going to be really, you know, it's going to be really tough, right? Tough as in, frankly speaking, chances of sustaining is going to be ஒரு 2-3 years அவ்வளவுதான். அதுக்கப்புறம் பாத்தீங்கன்னா போட காசு எடுப்பீங்க, வந்துட்டு இருக்கும், அப்படிதான் போயிட்டு இருக்கும். So it's better if you guys start to think something like this, where is find an existing solution, try to simplify it, try to build a product around it, and again raising funds, I'll come back to it. And how to develop a product, you just need to have an idea. There are a lot of companies, there are a lot of investors who are ready to invest on you people if the idea is really good, and if they think that you have the potential to, you know, do all these things, right? So now coming to market analysis, starting a business and how to raise a fund, right? So let's say you guys have worked in a startup for a pretty long time and you found a solution to it, as in you found a problem and you identified a simplified solution to it, right? And you understood the need for each and everything, and you understood the market size also. So when it comes to market size, this is one of my very personal experience. Always get into a space where there is no niche. For example, இப்போ நான் அந்த பெட் பாண்டா சொல்லியிருந்தேன் இல்லையா, the reason why I was not able to sustain in that market for a very long time was, one, because it's a very niche market, and pet industry India பாத்தீங்கன்னா people have a lot of pets, but நம்ம ஆளுங்க வந்து, if you think that, you know, are they okay to spend so much on pets, அந்த ஒரு மென்டாலிட்டி இருக்கான்னு பார்த்தா நிறைய பேருக்கு இருக்கு, பட் அதை விட நிறைய பேருக்கு சுத்தமா இல்லை. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு நீஷான ஒரு மார்க்கெட், லெட்ஸ் சே அந்த ரொம்ப ஒரு செக்மெண்டடான ஒரு இதுக்கு போகாம இருக்கிறது, இட்ஸ் ஆல்வேஸ் பெட்டர். ஏன்னா ஆல்வேஸ் கீப் யுவர் திஸ் திங் வைட் ஓப்பன். the audience wide open. And before you get into any business, start doing a competitor analysis. Let's say that's what I was explaining about digital marketing, right? And resource availability majorly. So let's say someone wants to start a company in the future, right? And they want to know how do I build these applications and all that, right? Assume that somebody wants to develop an application similar to Swiggy for an XYZ reason. So resource availability, everything is actually available. If you search, you'll find a lot of companies who are doing all this. Chennai, there are multiple startups who build similar applications to Swiggy. You can find it in easy OMR site, who are working day in and day out, get the job done, right? And cost incurred to run the particular business. So the reason why I'm telling you about cost here is you can raise funds, but for you to raise funds, you have to at least sustain in the business. One, the business model has to be really good, and number two, that அதாவது ஆடியன்ஸ் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ரொம்ப வைடா இருக்கணும். அண்ட் நம்பர் 3 பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு கஸ்டமர் அக்வயர் பண்றதுக்கு how much are you going to actually spend on those things, right? Let's say what Cred is doing. இப்போ கரண்டா Cred பார்த்தீங்கன்னா they are spending close to around 600 rupees or 700 rupees just to acquire one customer, right? Which is a very huge amount. இப்போ Swiggy, Zomato பார்த்தீங்கன்னா they are also in the same thing. If you would have used Swiggy Zomato application, உங்களுக்கு அந்த ஒரு கோட் மாதிரி கொடுப்பாங்க when you check out, so that you get a discount. அது restaurant don't bear it, Swiggy bears it or Zomato bears it. அவங்களுக்கு எங்க அந்த ஃபண்டிங் வருதுன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா companies like Axel or Tiger Global, Naspers, these companies fund them, and the reason why they are doing it is so that you sustain inside the application, you don't go and explore any new application. Now again raising funds. So not just தான் இதுல போட்டிருக்கேன். இதெல்லாம் பாத்தீங்கன்னா கொஞ்சம் well known brands, right? Axel, Nasper, Tiger Global, there are multiple other companies. In fact, Chennai, if you see, so all these you call them as venture capital companies, right? You can approach them if you have a very good business plan, and if you're already running a business, and if you think you can expand your business in a exponential stage, and if you need some external support, these people will be more than happy to open their hands to you people, right? So for you to approach all these people, one, you need to have the product ready. So adukku you need money, that is one, and plans and everything which I was talking about in the earlier stage, right? So idellame ready ah irundha, these people are ready to give out funds. I'll give you a very good example, okay, of a real life scenario. நான் ஏன் இதை சொல்றேன், இது எல்லாமே பாசிபிள்னு ஏன் சொல்றேன்னா, so I had one of my managers, so I was reporting to him. So this guy, so his name is Yash Desai. So he sits and works out of Mumbai. நான் இங்க இருந்து அவருக்கு டைரக்டா ரிப்போர்ட் பண்ணுவேன். So he was with Dynode for 4 years. He is around 30 years now, 30 or 31 years old now. So he started a company called onecodeindia.in. Company என்ன பண்ணுதுன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, they basically the coupon codes இருக்கு இல்லையா, so company provides a lot of coupon codes for a lot of other things. Let's say இப்போ நம்ம nearby மாதிரி ஒரு coupon codes they provide, and he actually quit his job 1 year back, and then அவரும் அவரோட ஃப்ரெண்டும் they started this business, and they raised close to I think $7 or $8 million, which is, it should be roughly around, I don't know the actual figure, around let's say 80 or 90 crores. I'm just giving I'm not sure about the particular number, but assume it's around 100 crores. ஒரு நார்மல் ஒரு கூப்பன் கோட் ப்ரொவைட் பண்ற ஒரு கம்பெனிக்கு, companies like venture capitalists are ready to spend so much money because they see a potential there, right? The reason why he got that particular idea, because Dynode பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அதே தான் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கு. இன்ஃபேக்ட் எங்களோட ஃபவுண்டர்ஸே they started investing that particular company, right? So if the product is good, and let's say if you're able to provide a proper solution to an existing solution, அதாவது ஒரு simplified solution, and if you are able to build a prototype, at least a prototype of that particular product, that is your vision, you can raise funds and you can scale up to a next level to what these startups have seen in the past 10 years, right? And I want to say what not to do in a business. So as I said earlier, right, never select a small or a niche market. That's not going to really work out. And this I personally felt, never pull your family members inside your business, as in maybe your brothers, that is fine, but don't pull any second or third circle. It'll become a bit toxic in the future. And again, digital marketing is a good example. If there are too many competitors who are doing the same thing that you want to do, right, you're not gonna be someone who's on the top. அந்த ஒரு கும்பலோட அந்த கூட்டத்தோட ஒருத்தரா தான் பார்ப்பாங்க. அண்ட் 10ஓட 1 11 அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு இதுவா தான் இருக்கும். And to sustain in the business, this I have seen these people do it on an aggressive way. அதாவது ஒரு கம்பெனியை 10 years அவங்க சக்சஸ்ஃபுல்லா ரன் பண்ண, the amount of changes that they have done, the amount of inventions that they have done is humongous. That's the reason you still see Zomato, you still see Swiggy riders roaming here and there, or all the other applications that I was talking about, because அங்க உள்ள work பண்ற employees will know what is the amount of changes that they do on a day-to-day basis, right? And this is one good thing that I've learned from all the startups, right? The budget won't be there with them, but they'll try to hire the best of the best. And for your information, startups actually pay you more than what a corporate can pay. Aதாவது ஒரு certain set of startups, let's say you can also try in the future. There's a company called Ally. Ally is based out of Chennai only. So company was started in 2018. அவங்க பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு ப்ராப்பர் SaaS based company. SaaS as in they develop a software, they sell it to business. They'll start using it, and they get a small commission out of it. Let's say per user they charge around $10 or $15, right? If you see the amount of investment that they have done on the employees is very huge. I was even really surprised. Let's say let's say if you have all the skills to become a salesperson, or if you are into development or other things, let's say you have zero experience, assume you have zero experience, and your communication is really nice, and you have all the skills to become a proper international salesperson, your salary starts from 14 lakhs, which is not even the market standards. It's like to the next level, right? Freshworks, if you see, Freshworks were also doing the same thing. For 5-6 years, Freshworks was one of the companies which used to pay you like very high. Ipo they have reduced it because அவங்க பேர் நல்ல வெளியே தெரிய ஆரம்பிச்சிருச்சு one, and people are automatically coming and joining their company. ஏன்னா இப்போ அவங்க ஐபி அளவுக்கு போயிட்டாங்க இப்போ. ஸோ ஆலையும் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அதே மாதிரி தான் போயிட்டு இருக்கு. ஈவன் இப்போ நீங்க ஜொமேட்டோலயும் நீங்க ஒர்க் பண்ணணும்னு நினைச்சீங்கன்னா ஃபார் அ ஃப்ரெஷர் நீங்க ஜொமேட்டோ இதுல சும்மா லிங்க்டின்ல போய் சர்ச் பண்ணீங்கனாலே தெரியும். You just need a BCom degree. ஒரு டிகிரி இருந்தா போதும். BCom or BBA, whatever it is, right? ஏதாச்சும் ஒரு பேச்சுலர்ஸ் டிகிரி இருந்தா போதும். If you have the right skills, அதாவது a proper set of selling skills, அதாவது அப்படியே போனோடனே ப்ரோவா இருக்கணும்னு இல்லை, அவங்க எதிர்பார்க்குற பேசிக்கான இது இருந்தாலே, if they like you, if they hire you inside, they are paying you a minimum of 10 lakhs. This is the real figures I'm giving. I'm not exaggerating it, but in the 10 lakhs or 14 lakhs, whatever I told you, right? This is possible when a person has, let's say, 4 to 5 years of experience. Or a fresher pay pandranganradhu, the reason why they are doing all these things is one, to sustain the employees inside the organization for a reasonable amount of time. Let's say, neenga jump aite irukka koodadundradhukandi, and employee quality வந்து அவங்க ஹையர் பண்ணும்போதே பார்த்து தான் எடுக்கிறாங்க. They do a series of rounds and then they hire. So any startup that I showed you here are actually paying so and so much. Unacademy இருக்கட்டும், or let's say Zomato, Oyo இப்போ since they are in a loss, they are not doing it, or Paytm இருக்கட்டும், they pay you this much, right? So which is a good thing. And one more thing that I faced is, which I also learned is, let's say you run a business, or it might be a retail or an online business or whatever type of business. Just because of the competition, you can reduce the pricing, you can make a proper pricing strategy, but don't go too low so that you'll affect your business. because I have done this, I burnt my hands, அதில் தான் நிறைய லாஸ் ஆச்சு. Never do this. அதாவது discounts are going to be there for a long time, but ஒரு pricing maintain பண்ணி ஒரு standard maintain பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டிங்கனாலே அதாவது மார்க்கெட் வில் ஆக்சுவலி ஸ்டார்ட் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் தட் ஓகே இவங்க கிட்ட போனால் இவ்வளோதான் காஸ்ட் ஆக போகுது, ஏன்னா குவாலிட்டி இவ்வளோ வரும் அப்படின்ற. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் செட் பண்ண ஆரம்பிங்களே தவிர டோன்ட் லோயோ யோர் ப்ரைஸிங். Let's say anything, let's say you guys want to start you want to do a freelance digital marketing. There are a lot of freelancers which I've seen who charge, let's say 5,000 rupees per month or even 2,000 rupees per month, which is utter low. இப்போ இருக்கிற ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் படி பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு 35 to 40 ஒரு கம்பெனி உங்களுக்கு பே பண்ணுறாங்க ஆன் மந்த் ஆன் மந்த் பேசிஸ் அப்படின்னும் போது தட்ஸ் a decent number. ஸோ மார்ஜினை ரொம்ப கம்மி பண்ணி ஃபியூச்சரில் அடி வாங்காதீங்க இஸ் வாட் ஐ வுட் சே. அண்ட் don't put all your efforts in one basket. It's a very good example, even what Dynot is also currently doing. ஏன்னா ஒரு டேபிள் ரிசர்வேஷன் கம்பெனியாக இருந்தது ஒரு 5-6 years தான் இருந்தது. As soon as these people started seeing the competitors growing very exponentially, let's say Zomato, because Zomato is one of their major competitors, what they started doing is Zomato has grown to an extent where it's going to take a lot of years for these people to grow. And again, competing with Zomato and competing with those players, it's practically impossible at the current stage, right? So what these people did, they're going to stick on to whatever they are currently doing. But sideலியே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா they started developing the SaaS thing which I was saying. இப்போ SaaS வரைக்கும் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா SaaS பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் they were a lot of companies in the earlier stage, Dynot உள்ள வரதுக்கு முன்னாடியே. பட் ரெஸ்டாரண்ட் ஸ்பெசிஃபிக்காக SaaS based softwares அகைன் நிறைய காம்படிட்டர்ஸ் இருந்தாங்க. பட் இஃப் யூ see which is the number one company in India and which has close to around 60% market share is Dynot. அதாவது B2B சைடில் ரெஸ்டாரண்ட் வச்சிருக்கிறவங்க நீங்கள் இப்போ ஒரு ரெஸ்டாரண்ட் போறீங்க, அங்கே இருக்கிற அவங்க யூஸ் பண்ணுற எல்லா சாஃப்ட்வேர்ஸும் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா முக்கால்வாசி டைனோட் ப்ரொவைட் பண்ண சாஃப்ட்வேர்ஸாக தான் இருக்கும். ஸோ ஒரே இதில் கான்சென்ட்ரேட் பண்ணாதீங்க. ஒன்று ஒர்க் அவுட் ஆகலன்னும் போதே அதுக்கு ரிலேட்டடாகவே மிச்சம் இது ஏதாவது இருந்ததுன்னா ட்ரை டு கிராப் தட் ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி, பிகாஸ் யூ வில் ஆல்சோ பிகம் சம் ஒன் like what founders of Dynot has done, right? So think that's it from me. You guys have any questions or something?
I think Sridevi has some question. Na? Sridevi, you raised your hand. Students, do you have any questions?
Yes, ma'am. Can I ask?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Hey, Abhishek, Salman here again.
Yeah.
And yeah, in the beginning you said like you were fond of automobiles and you took automobile engineering, right?
Correct.
And I myself more fond of automobiles too.
Okay.
So, and after my UG, I was working as a sales consultant for about a year.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to work in any company related to automobiles.
Okay.
So is there anything that you could suggest me, like where I might end up, like any other options like that?
You can
related
actually,
to automobiles?
Yeah, so pertaining to automobiles, see, I won't advise you to go and work in a dealership. The reason being, again, அங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு கார்ப்பரேட் மாதிரியான ஒரு இதுதான் அங்க போயிட்டு இருக்கு, right?
Okay.
There's a company called Cast24. I don't know whether you have heard this company.
Yes.
So Cast24, இப்போ they are not doing good, but
okay.
Pandemic nala they are not doing good. But okay. Again, they have their own set of backings. They raised close to, I think, $600 or $7 million in Series C and Series D funding. So funding wise, they don't have any issue. But sale illa, but they were doing a good amount of sale before pandemic. You can actually try Cast24 because you will see a lot of multicultural people. You know, I have a lot of my friends who used to work in Zomato, now is working in Cast24. And lot of other background, let's say SaaS industry la irukravanga anga work பண்றவங்க இருப்பாங்க. The reason why I'm telling you this is try to get into something where அதாவது உங்க பேஷன் ஒரு பக்கம் plus அதுக்கு ரிலேட்டடான கம்பெனிஸா போங்க. And இந்த Cast24 ஏன் சஜஸ்ட் பண்றேன்னா மல்டி கல்ச்சர் அண்ட் டிஃப்ரெண்டான நாலேஜ் இருக்கிற பீப்புளை நீங்க பார்க்க ஆரம்பிப்பீங்க.
Okay.
So you will actually learn a lot of things. அதாவது இப்போ நீங்க Cast24 மாதிரியே இல்லை, மேபி அதுக்கு சபார்டினேட்டா யூ கேன் பிகம் இன் த ஃபியூச்சர். as in adukku related you can do any startups or something.
Okay, bro. Yeah.
You will explore. Anga ulla pogumbodhu you will actually know already on the solution irukum. You can find a way to simplify it, and you can also start a thing.
Yeah. Okay. And also like and the specialization thing, right? Like marketing, HR, those things are there, right?
Correct.
So my personal interest is in marketing, digital marketing, HR, logistics, those kind of stuff. I kind of like it. So if I go into that, I can still end up being over there, or should I look for something else?
No. See, frankly speaking, especially when it comes to marketing and sales, you'll see a lot of people with multiple backgrounds. There'll be a person who did engineering, there'll be a person who did MBA in finance, and he'll end up in doing a marketing job, right? So you don't have to be go for it. If not, let's say if you want to have a dual career option, அதாவது marketingலயும் இந்த sales related ஆவும் நான் போணும் அப்படின்னு பாக்குறீங்கன்னா, you can opt it anytime you want. As in நீங்க finance எடுத்துட்டு கூட you can get into a marketing thing. அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ரோலையும் போலாம். அதாவது ஆக்சுவலா பார்த்தா அதை அட்வைஸ் பண்ண மாட்டாங்க, பட் வெளியே இருக்கிற சினாரியோ பாத்தீங்கன்னா that's how it's happening.
Yeah, okay, bro. Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions, students? That was an inspiring session, Abhishek.
Thank you.
Covered a lot of points relating to startup companies.
Good.
And it's a kind of a comparative analysis you've made, right?
Correct.
We used to go for the business models, how the business models they are able to pitch and they are able to sustain and survive. And even there are some unsuccessful business models also existing.
Correct.
Covered a lot of information, taking some examples for the startup companies. It's perfect.
Thank you, guys.
Before we are winding up the session, I'd like to call upon Aishwarya to deliver a vote of thanks. Aishwarya?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir, for spending a valuable time with us and sharing your experience, sir. The session was very insightful and enlightening, sir. Further, I would like to thank our management, our Dean, College of Engineering and Technology, Professor C.V. Jayakumar, sir, the VP Academics, Professor C. Gomati, ma'am, and VP Research, Professor S.K. sir. My sincere thanks to Head of our department, Professor C. Prasida, ma'am, and our event coordinator, Dr. M.N. Prabhadevi, ma'am. Thank you, my friends, and thanks to the Almighty.
Thank you, Ashriya. Thank you for
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you,
sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Solomon.
Thank you, sir.